Hello, 1 2 1 2. Right, everyone, run over to the YouTube channel, please, and run over to YouTube and see, am I actually live right now? Okay, does it say I'm live? Okay, it says I'm live right now. Everybody please run over and like the video. Here's the new thing. Give me a couple of seconds. Okay, 1 2 1 2. How is this audio? I need my hoodie. This music, if you can hear it. Anyone hear music? If you can hear it, this music was chosen by me. I chose it. It's Colin's Crown from the GBA. It was a goated game in the early 2000s. Before smartphone games were really a thing. I don't even know if there were smartphones back then, to be honest. I don't remember. No, early 2000s? I don't think so. One, two, 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Okay. I'm just gonna quickly tweet that I'm live. He says it's me. The intro of the game. I'm just done. I'm reading what on Twitter. Right, hang on. Okay, can I be heard? Am I live? Everyone, thank you so much for joining me for the pre-show. We had a nice turnout. As I just like messed around and really did almost no preparation, to be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really prep that much. But it's okay because we've got topics decided that we're going to talk about and whatever else people want to talk about. If you can hear the music, this is the Colin's Crown OST, Colin's Crown from the GBA. was a good game. So I was just getting nostalgic, basically, and decided to look for the Columns Crown OST just randomly. But we do have a mix that Vinnie Max selected, and I noticed that he chose a 5-hour-long video. Now, call me a conspiracy theorist, I feel like the length of that video was deliberate to try and stop me playing music that I would prefer to play. I think that's the reason why it's so long. But anyway, I'm gonna head over to the on-air room. Red Hood and Vinnie Mac, please head over to the live stream. I put a link in the chat. Well, I've did it at everyone, so you should see it. Okay, I'm going over to the on-air room, and I'm going to bring in. First of all, I'm gonna lower the goddamn volume of this. Can everyone hear it? I don't know if there's anyone. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea if anyone's watching this goddamn show. I don't know if anyone's watching. I don't know what's going on. Is anyone even here? Why is the music so loud? It's loud in my ears. I need to figure out how to sort this out. Why it's so loud for me, the music. Like, I don't know. I need to change that. I need to turn down my... Is it the OBS that's so loud? What is it? The problem is if I turn on the master volume, it turns down everything. I need to be able to hear Discord, so fucking... I mean, oops! Ignore that swear! I didn't swear just then. Sorry, I'm just getting exasperated. Right, Mario DK is coming to hang out for about 30 minutes. Mario DK, welcome!
Good morning, evening, afternoon.
Yeah. Well, it's 6:30. I don't know if it's that afternoon or evening. The sun is setting where I am because it's late. Not late. I was gonna say late September. It's early October. So welcome. How are you doing, Mario DK?
I'm good. Just back from my vacation. It's been a week, so I've acclimated back to being to work, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I gotta work, even though we don't want to. Sometimes we gotta do those things. Now, I know you can't hear this music, but for me it's like hella loud. So I'm going to try and turn that down, but keep your volume up, which is the challenge here, because I don't have a mixer, you see. That's what... Oh my god, I'm going into the reds. I just seen my thing so loud on there. Okay, and I'm going to... turn... Yeah, unfortunately there's not like that good of a mixer for me to use, but I'm just going to turn down the Google Chrome. Okay, the music is loud. It's too loud. It was too loud for you as well. How about now? I just turned it down the Chrome thing. It's loud for us too. Welcome Timor, J2, Blue. Okay, let's get started. Sounds good. Welcome, J Alpha. Welcome everyone to another Game Corner Shop live stream. I have Mario DK here to hang out and chat for around 30 minutes as he is working today, but he's kindly taken a little bit of time, I guess maybe it's his lunch break, to have a chat with us about various topics. I am playing the Columns Crown OST, which is this kind of puzzle game from the GBA made by Sega, and I don't know, I just randomly got nostalgic for this game. But I do have a mix that Vinnie Max selected of just literally random Nintendo music. It's like, here you go, 5 hours of random Nintendo music that he has not listened to himself. I scrubbed through it as well, right? Okay. I hope that the volume is much better for everybody. It's like maybe a little bit distracting for me, so I might have to change it in a minute. if everybody could please hit the like button and share out on that I am live with any social media or anything, spread it, because we don't really have much of an audience. It's just us. We're all hanging out. It's fun for us, but it'd be nice if other people could come and hang out with us. So Mario DK, since you're not here for very long, we'll just get straight into the topics, and I won't go through a detailed of the Famitsu sales, but we can just pick out bits that you would like to discuss. So what would you like to talk about today?
Well, I guess we can start off with the top game, which is this Fate Samurai Remnant game.
Yes.
From Koei Tecmo.
Yes. So Fate Samurai Remnant, I believe, is a spin-off of Fate Stay Night, right? Which is this mobile game. It's a franchise by Sony and Aniplex. Well, Aniplex is a Sony subsidiary, but anyway, Aniplex, and I believe this was made by Koei Tecmo. It's like a Muso style game. So this game, how do you feel about the sales? And I'll just quickly tell everyone what the sales were. Where's, oh god, I need the first page of this. I need the first page. One sec, quickly. It's quicker if I look on here. So Fate Samurai Remnant sold 34,000 on Nintendo Switch, 21.5 thousand on the PS5 and PS4. It's 12.2 thousand. Now, what is that if you add that up? I don't know.
It's like 33 to 34, so it's like 67,000.
Somebody did
total.
It on here.
So
right?
it's about a 50-50 split.
It's 67,000 units total. I'm really bad at mental arithmetic. Okay, so what's interesting here, and I'll find this as you talk, because we can compare it to the previous Fate Stay Night games, and I know that there's someone here made a chart of it. Yeah, so what's your feelings about that, Mario DK?
Well, I don't remember how the other one did. I think there was like some Fate whatever game.
Oh, I found it.
Year or two.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this chart was made by, oh my god, what the hell? It's too big. Made by Ishan on Install Base. Okay, so we look at this chart. This is Fate Stay Night games in Japan with the Famitsu sales. So here's the current game here on the far right, and you can see this one completely flopped. This one, I don't know what they were thinking with this. They put a fighting game on the 3DS with no like other games from this franchise on 3DS, so obviously it bombed. But yeah, so the previous game was in 2018, it looks like. Yeah, that was the next most recent one, 2018. That was Fate/Extella Link, that launched on the PS4 and PS Vita. So a brand new PS Vita game in 2018. Seems very late for the Vita, but that's what they did. That was the last one, and the total, hang on, I have to look, but that's the chart. Does he have the figures here? Okay, he has the figures here. So what did I say? What's again? Fate Extella? Oh my god. Oh, it's this one here. Fate/Extella Link. So the first week was 129,000. The lifetime was 172,000. So that's like a pretty big drop off. And even if you added like what the digital would be, it's still it still seems lower than the previous one, than the previous game.
It seems like it's not as high as the peaks of the franchise, but it's in line with like the other games,
yeah,
kind of the middle of the pack.
So I think what has happened here with this, I think this game is just another victim of the decline of PlayStation in Japan. I honestly think that's what that is. So you see the peak is here, with like, I guess you're talking about this one. There was just Fate Extella, and Fate Extella Link, I guess, must have been maybe an expanded version of that game. I don't know. Somebody tell me. Listen, I don't know anything about Fate games. I don't. But the previous one, there was only 2 years between them, so it seems like it was like a maybe like an expansion, you know, like a Persona 5 Royal or something like that. I don't know. But that was the highest opening sales in 2016. Again, that was on a PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. So I think what has happened, this is my opinion because we've seen this with some other franchises, is that game franchises decline in line with the decline of PlayStation, even when you account for the increase in digital, because you can say, well, okay, digital back then was 20%, right now it's about 30%, you add 30%, it's still a decline because you have to add the digital to those sales. If you do like a rough, you know, back of a napkin estimate, it's still less. So I think that's happened, and I think this is the first game where they've done multi-platform on the Switch.
Day one.
As you can see from this, like the only other game they put on a Nintendo platform was a fighting game spin-off on the 3DS, which obviously, I don't know what they were thinking doing that. That completely flopped, right? So I think this is the decline of PlayStation, and plus there hasn't been enough time. They haven't built up an audience. But even with that considered, this being the first release, it still did well. What do you think, Mary Decay?
I think having the Switch release day one definitely helped this title, because if they had continued with like PS5, PS4 only, probably would have been closer to that 3DS game.
Oh my god!
So,
well, it would have been what did it sell on the? Hang on, let me look at this again.
It looks like 10,000, probably even less.
Was it 10,000? Was it 10,000 or 15,000?
It looks less. It looks almost about 5,000.
Oh no, not the 3DS one. I mean the one today. So yeah, it's 21,000 on PS5, and then
I think total
12,000.
68,000.
Yeah, so it was so you're talking about 34,000 on PS4 and PS5 combined. So if there hadn't been a Switch release, then yeah, you would have. You could say, well, the sales would have been 50% less. So that's interesting, but you know, it takes time to build audiences, and then hopefully Koei Tecmo can bring the Koei Tecmo and Aniplex can bring the franchise up to, you know, what it was selling before. But it's going to take them time to do that, and the time is like just literally building an audience.
Yeah, but all around seems like a good effort, you know.
Yeah, I think the game did okay.
Yeah, and from what we understand or read, there's like a bit of a stock issue with the Switch version.
Oh right, okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Because the sell-through is like in the red, like 80+%. PS5 version didn't sell as well, but they still sold most of their initial shipments, so definitely not a bomber, you know.
Yeah. And I have a correction from Kika. It says Fate Stay Night is a visual novel created by Type Moon. Sony only has the mobile game, not the franchise as a whole. Thank you for that information, Kika. Appreciate that. So that's just correct information about this franchise, which I know nothing about. So Sony just makes the mobile game, but it's actually created by Type Moon. Okay, thank you. So
speaking of Bama, we got the second title on the top 30.
Yes, so this is called Infinity Strash Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai, which is quite a long title, and you'll notice that the title of this episode is Dragon Quest The Flopventures of Dai. Now I have to thank JT Blue for that title, because he just said it like randomly when we were talking in the pre-show, and I was like, oh my god, I need to use that for the title, so I was cracking up. It was just something so silly. I laugh at silly things like that. Mary Kay, I have thoughts about this, but I'd like to hear what you have to say about The Adventure of Dai.
Just a whole lot of mismanagement from the development. Like, I feel like we've been hearing about this game for like 3-4 years, and Like, we didn't know the platforms for the longest time, and then it's like a recap of the anime, but it's only like a third of it. And then you look at the production values, it's like they couldn't even put anime clips in the cutscenes. They're just like slideshow, like PowerPoint presentations. And the reviews came out, and it wasn't, it's a pretty mediocre game, and it just feels kind of like, I don't want to say it's a trend of the Dragon Quest mismanagement, but it's definitely, it feels like a project that was just kind of like Dragon Quest Treasures. That was like, all right, just put it out. They just had to kind of, make something off of what they produced. So that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, so I agree with you. There does seem to be a general, like, mismanagement of the Dragon Quest franchise at the moment as a whole. But to specifically talk about Dai, what you've said is the same issues I've heard of the game, that it's basically, the game is based on an anime which is an adaptation of the manga, but I think there wasn't anime years ago, but this is like a redone anime or something like that.
It's like a reboot.
A reboot of the anime. The problem is that anime finished airing like over a year ago. So this game is a tie-in with that anime, but as Mario DK says, it only tells 1/3 of the story of the anime, so it just stops. And then the other issue is that it's not proper cutscenes, it just has like slideshows, like just still images from the anime, which doesn't really make sense, because like, why would you not you could just put like clips from the anime in there. Maybe there was licensing issues and they didn't want to pay for it, but now somebody can correct me on this. This is just what I've heard on Install-based forum, where someone said there that this game wasn't managed by Arma Studio, which is Yuji Hoii's studio, who manages Dragon Quest, normally all the games, right? He's involved in some way, but apparently not this one. It was managed by the anime company, right? Was it Toei?
Shueisha or something?
Oh, it was Shueisha? Okay, so, yeah.
And they tend to be pretty, anime companies tend to be pretty, like, and when I say pretty, I mean, like, extremely stingy with footage or, like, their properties. Because, like, there was that crossover game, like, Gensoft made. What was it, like, Jump All-Stars, or, the 3D one? What was it called?
Jump Force?
Jump Force, yeah. That one, like, was taken down after, like, a year or two.
Yeah, because it was so bad.
Because of licensing and all that kind of stuff. So it just seems like it's never a good, like, if you look at Dragon Ball FighterZ and if you purchase like the anime music packs for the game, they're like pretty expensive and they never go on sale. So I don't know, it just seems like not the best idea to work with like a direct adaptation of an anime. But it's hard to say. I don't know, it's a mismanaged project all around, I would say.
I'm laughing because Kika posted this gif of Panda from... Have you seen that anime called Polar Bear's Cafe? Shirokuma Cafe?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so that's like... I watched it. It's like one of the quote-unquote easy anime that's recommended when you're learning Japanese. It's actually pretty funny. Panda's funny. Anyway, Kika I don't know if Kika even knows what that is, but he posted a gif of it in the in the Discord. Yeah, so like, I think the game was like kind of low effort, right? I think we can kind of say that. And just all of that combined with Square Enix's terrible marketing and I and many other people feel that they have just mismanaged the Dragon Quest franchise for like 10 plus years, not just starting now. Because the problems now go back further years and them just not planning stuff out properly. So this has caused this to be the biggest flop of a Dragon Quest spin-off maybe ever, apart from maybe one wasn't in there like a
Like a
Itadaki
rocket
Street?
slime or whatever.
Oh,
or-
Rocket Slime. That's another thing. Where's Itadaki Street? But anyway, that's not Spain. Yeah, Rocket Slime, whatever this weirdo spin-off was. Yeah.
I feel like the only thing they did right with this game was launching it on like every platform day one.
They did.
The one good business decision.
They made the good decision doing that. It is on every platform, even Xbox, although there's no physical in Japan of that version, so it can't chart. But yeah, even with that, the sales are very low, and we thought the sales were going to be low prior to launch because the pre-orders were so low and it was so low interest, and it's a shame. Like, you know, it flopped, and I think Square Enix, you know, they need to take a hard look at how they're managing the Dragon Quest franchise. Yeah, I think it's Square Enix as a whole, the whole company. Square Enix is grossly mismanaged. I've been saying this for years now. I've been saying for years they are mismanaged. I was like, get rid of Matsuda. They got rid of Matsuda. We have Airbus Kiryu-san now. He's only been there for a couple of months, so he's not really done much of anything yet. So we have to. It's going to take, you know, multiple years to see what he does, if he can thing. But I don't know, man. He's a crypto bro, so. And they're still chasing. I don't know if they're still. I think they're still chasing these NFTs, even though they're dead. But they're still chasing them. So yeah, they got mid reviews.
Just to wrap up, because I've got like 15 minutes left or so.
Sure.
I think it's safe to say we're not going to get a sequel, and hopefully the multi-platform day one approach is like indicative of Square Enix's strategy going forward.
That sucks if there's no like you said, it's like 1/3 of the anime, so
yeah,
like there's never gonna be a conclusion with that. I don't know why that was dumb to make it like that. I don't know what they were thinking. Yeah.
I guess we can move on to Ease 10.
Now, Ease 10, yes, this is very, very interesting. Ease 10 Nordics. So this game sold 18,000.
Yeah, on Switch.
Yeah, so around 45,000 total. But I was just going to say per platform. So on the PS5 it was 18.5 thousand. On the Switch it was 15.8 thousand. And on the PS4 it was 10,000. So, and whilst you're talking about that, I'm going to quickly look up Ease, the other one, Ease 9. So we can look at the service.
10 on Switch ended up having a 50% growth from Ease 9 when it launched on Switch. So that, I would say, is a win overall. I don't know, there was like a slight decrease, I would say, from the PS4 and, like, I guess the Vita versions.
Slight.
But it seems to be, it's like...
It was not slight, Mario DK. It was not a slight. I would not call it a slight decrease at all.
I don't know. I don't have the numbers of, like...
Oh, well, I do! Well, it's a good thing, because I do. So, Ease 9 is... tab. Maybe I can see this on the screen, but Ease 9, Monster Nox, which is... I'm only going to be talking about the PS4. I know there was a very late port on the Switch, but you know, it's 2 years later. So I'm just referring to the initial release on the PlayStation 4, which is 45,000 first week, Mario DK. It sold 45,000 first week on the PlayStation 4. Okay, so if you combine the PS4 and PS5 versions now, right? What is that if you add that up?
25,000, I think, for East 10.
Yeah.
Had it somewhere.
I wrote it down somewhere as well.
Yeah, 18 and like 10, so 28,000.
Okay. That is a colossal drop off. That's like a 30. I mean, it was like 34% drop off. Right, so that's not a slight drop. That's huge. If there had not been, this is the first day and date game from Nihon Falcon. So if there had not been that Switch version, there would have been another, because there's been like, their games have been selling less and less and less and less. So even when you account for a digital increase, it would still have dropped a lot from the previous, because the previous game was only in 2019. Okay? So there hasn't been a huge, giant, increase in digital since then. So it would have been a disaster. But with the Switch version, it means the physical sales are the same.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say when it's like about the same. And in total, like if you compare 9 to 10, having that Switch version at least like kind of stay the decline.
Yeah, now my original prediction for this, I don't know if you had any predictions before, I thought that the Switch version would sell 20% or less of the total sales. So I was wrong, it sold like 35% or something like that. Something like 35%. So that's way more than I thought. And that is Mario DK, which should point out, that is with Nihon Falcon not promoting that version. They only promoted the PS5 version. So PS5, PS5, PS5. The Switch version got almost no promotion. There was only very, very little footage of it before it released. So
apparently there was a small snippet in the last direct in Japan.
Oh yeah, so it was in the sizzle reel of the Japanese Nintendo Direct. Just in the sizzle reel though. So it didn't get much promotion that, okay, this game is on Switch. Plus, Nihon Falcon had not released a lot of Day and Date games before, so it's the first one. So I think this sale was good. We've taken all that consideration that they didn't really do a lot to promote it and so on, and it still sold decently enough to stop the decline. So that's my thoughts on that. Overall, I think it's a W. Someone asked in our server, is this a W or an L? I think it's a W. I definitely think it's a W. For Nihon Falcon. I don't want to see companies decline and go out of business. So, this Commons music has got way too hype now. I need to stop this. Because I was looking.
I had said earlier it was like a 50% increase. It was actually like a 100%, like it doubled what 9 did. I mean, obviously 9 first week was a late port, but
9 was a late
from
port.
7,000 to 15,000. That's still a big jump. So
yes.
Definitely worth it.
So I think Nihon Falcon should be commended for at least doing that. And I did look at the East 9 port wasn't that great. But I looked at footage. There's some footage you can see on YouTube, frame rate tests and stuff like that. It's pretty stable on the Switch version. It holds up in battles like 30 frames. The only thing is that it's mad popping when you're in the towns, but but overall it looks fine. So I definitely think that's a W. Mario DK, what are your final thoughts before you have to go?
EA Sports showed growth on the Switch version.
Oh yeah,
which is good. Rewarding. It's like rewarding the effort EA put in to make it like the modern game and not just the legacy versions. So that's good. This Frederica game looks to have done pretty well. I think I heard some people talking about it. I'm not sure.
I did hear some people talking about it. So I don't know really anything about this game. I think in the West it's called A Silent Voice. I don't know why the dramatic name difference, but it's an indie game, right? So I mean it's not like 10,000 or something. So I mean that's good for an indie game to sell that much.
Pikmin 1 and 2 had a pretty good drop, only 70% from last week.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this game at 17 is. The Donpachi Resurrection.
I have no idea what that is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
In terms of the rest of the charts,
there's a Remnant 2, which
bombed.
I mean, obviously that's, So that's what's going to happen, basically. You know, bombed. I don't know if there was a PS4 version. If there was a PS4 version that also bombed. It sold 2,361 on a PlayStation 5. That's the only figure we have. So maybe there was no. Let me check. Maybe it was a PS4 version. No, it was only PlayStation 5.
Yeah, just PS5. Cool.
So just PS5. I saw Luigi's Mansion 3 went back in the chart. This went up 20%.
Yeah, I guess the announcement of 2 HD.
Oh no, it says it went down. Was it at number 8 last week? It wasn't. It says 8 on here.
It actually increased 20%.
It wasn't number 8.
Apparently it was number 19 last week.
Was it?
It says 27 and then 19.
No, yeah, it says that. It's spooky. Is it spooky season? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everything's down this week because there was a whole bunch of new releases, so it pushed everything down, basically.
Yeah. Then I guess in terms of hardware, Switch is down a bit.
Switch is down from, what was it last week?
72. 56 from 72.
Yeah, so Switch is down. PS5 is about the same. Xbox Series is
Down.
like halved from last week. I think that's because of that TGS offer expired. So they do like some money off, like 5,000 yen or something like that off the Series S, but that offer expired. PS5's the same, exactly the same, even with we have some new releases.
I think the thinking for Switch is next week is the Mario, or like this week is the Mario OLED launch, so there's like maybe people are just holding off for that, and then for PS5. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's always like around this 40 to 50,000 number.
Yeah.
The software is
so
way below that.
So before,
I'm gonna have to. I haven't been doing my tie ratio of graphs since I was on vacation, but I'll probably work on that with all the past couple weeks of data, and I want to try to get an update out tonight if possible. Okay. That's about all I have to say on my end. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I do have to get going though.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us today, Mario DK, and have a nice rest of your day.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. J. Arthur says, A Silent Hope is pretty nice. A smaller release for Marvelous. Oh, it's a Marvelous game. Okay. What sort of game is it? Is it like a visual novel or something? Or is it an RPG? The Dom game is a shmup. It's one of the best on Switch. Oh, really? I'm not really... I haven't played, like, shmups for a very long time. So, okay, right. That explains that. Thank you. J. Arthur. Oh, it's an RPG, says J2 Blue. I see, it's an RPG. See, now the music was too loud. Now it's like a little bit quiet, to be honest with you. I doubt that anyone can hear it. Okay. So, what I'd like to talk about is, let me just look at this chart quickly. So you can see all these blue here means there was a lot of new releases now. It happens to be that sometimes this happens where there's just a lot of new releases in a week. And because almost all of these games are multi-platform, there's multiple versions of the same games, okay? There's multiple versions. There's 3 versions of The Adventure of Dai, for example, right? That's in the chart in here. So there's a whole lot of blue because those are all new games, right? So there are PS5 games. Now, I don't know if there's some people that think that PlayStation games don't chart at all in Japan. Yes, they do. If there's a new game, they will come out, they will chart. If a game sells like 10,000 or more, it is pretty much going to get into the top 10 of the charts. Now, always happens with every game. They chart. Sometimes it's a whole bunch of new games. But what happens is, games will release, the PlayStation versions do not stay in the chart for very long. They drop off, they sell significantly less, and they drop off very fast. They have no legs. So let's look at last week's chart. I'm using Niche Barrier here. So this is last week's chart. And you'll see here a lot of red, because it's a lot of Nintendo games. There's a couple of new releases. There was Pikmin 1 and 2. There was Lies of P and Payday 3. So those were new releases last week. And all of these games, because there's multiple new releases, got pushed down. Payday 3 is gone this week. Lies of P is gone. They didn't stay. They're all gone. And Armored Core, both of these are gone. Now, you might think to yourself, Jodie, what the hell? This is basic ass stuff you are explaining. You don't need to explain that new games come in release. There's multiple versions of them. And they come into the chart, and other games get pushed off the chart. That's obvious. Why are you explaining that? The reason why I'm explaining it is because of some people, mainly on Gematsu, other places, that are like, well, oh look, this shows the PS5 is doing great. Japan is still relevant. Why people say it's not relevant? Look, PS5 is back. I don't know how you cannot understand that new games will chart in the charts. The issue is of how much those games are selling, even relative to Switch versions of the game, where they're not particularly promoted very well compared to the PlayStation versions, and they're still, like, we're talking about the Falcom game, doing well with like almost no promotion of that particular version. But overall was a W for Falcom because it stopped the decline. Now, they were having some troubles with the sales of their games, so hopefully they'll be okay from now on if they are consistent and, you know, with their releases and because they have a niche fan base, but, you know, fairly strong. I mean, I know the sales have declined, but, you know, they've been building up in the West and stuff like that. Although Nihon Falcom don't publish themselves outside of Japan, they do it via Nissan, like Cloud Leopard, so for releases outside of Japan. But yes, the reason I explains that is because of the kind of things that people are saying now. I would like to go through some of these Gematsu comments. If anyone would like to join me, please go into the waiting room. I don't know if Vinnie Mac will turn up. He said he says this all the time. He says, "Oh, I'm gonna come on and I'm gonna defend Atlas and I'm gonna." And he never does. He's I don't know. He never does. I think he will ever do it. He never comes and defends Atlas. So let's talk about these Gematsu comments, okay, and why they're mad. Another thing we're going to talk about is this digital survey. Now, I've been saying for a long time that I think the digital rate is about, on average, 30% in Japan, on average, right? Which is significantly lower than the West, where it's like could be like from 50 to 7, like it was 70%. In the West, right? But it's the opposite in Japan. Basically, it's still very physical heavy. So that's, for instance, why you get Baldur's Gate 3 did not have a physical release in the West, but they're doing a physical for Japan, right? Because they want to have the most sales they can. They know that it's physical heavy in Japan, so that's why they're doing a physical release in Japan, basically, for that game. That's my thinking anyway. Okay, so you know, there are people saying, for example, this comment, oh, it's a device, the most diverse top 10 we've had in decades. Not decades, a few years back. PS4, when the PS4 was doing well, and where is it? It's peak from 2016, 17, 18. There was PS4 games in the chart all the time. So not a decade, but yeah. Kind of surprised to see E's selling better on PS5, the Switch. I am not. But yeah, this person's correct in saying, I guess Falcom failed to nurture the fan base on Switch, and now most fans are running PS5. So here's the problem with that. Yes, they didn't. So they're very, 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 very late to the party. In the meantime, their sales on PlayStation have continued to decline, as discussed. It's down very significantly, like 35% from the previous Ys game, the launch. Though I'm surprised to see FC24 selling best on Switch, considering that's the gimped version. So the problem, the mistake this person's making, in my opinion, is thinking that someone's going to have the mind, oh, I'm buying FIFA 24, so I want to buy the best version of that game. That's not. It doesn't work that way. People just have a platform, and in Japan, Switch is the most popular. And like, oh, this game's releasing on this platform that I have, let me buy the game. They don't think, oh, I want the best version of that game, let me go and buy a PlayStation 5. Which is what they would do, what people would do. If they wanted the best version of a game, they'd go, let me buy a PlayStation 5 or, a PC to get the best version of that game. But that's not what people do. They have a platform, they're like, let me get games for this platform that I have. And in Japan, they don't care as much about graphics as some other places, or the Switch wouldn't be so popular, and in general most people don't care about graphics like that, because you think about how popular mobile games are, and most people do not have iPhone 15 Pros. They do not. They just have like if you think about the average kind of like Android phone that people have around the world. That's why a lot of these games have got to be able to run on those phones. Yeshua says, and I did see this earlier, Yeshua, for the digital rate Switch games in Japan, Chris made an estimate based on Nintendo financial report and the media creative right paper in 2021. We'll go through that, Yeshua. I did see that on the forum earlier. We can talk about that we're going to talk about digital rate in a bit. So this is from Install Base forum, and Chris is one of the people that is a regular on Install Base forum. So yeah, let's look at a few more of these comments, because after a while they get amusing. Yeah, so this person answered, Mystic. E's Japanese fanbase has been PlayStation for a while now, and it didn't help that until these release, Switch ports are always late. So with that in mind, E's 10 on Switch being only 3K under the PS5 version is pretty good. Yeah, I agree. It's all considered, it did well, right? But yeah, so it's like you say, well, yes, their fan base has been on PlayStation because that's only where they've released the new games. Oh my god, this is giving me like nostalgia. I loved New Leaf from the 3DS. And I am still salty to this day that Nintendo didn't bring a lot of features from New Leaf to New Horizons, right? Didn't bring the mini games, didn't bring back the special. How did you not bring back the special villagers and the special furniture from your own friends in New Leaf, right? You use a whole bunch of Zelda furniture and items you can get. You can have the champions tunic. You can have all this Zelda stuff, Metroid stuff, all this stuff that you can have in New Leaf that they did not put. For whatever it blows my mind, they did not put it in New Horizons, and they didn't bring that special. I am so salty. They did not bring back their special villagers. If you had an amiibo, if you had the Link riding the horse, Epona amiibo, if you scanned that in, you would get Epona would appear in your village as a villager. She would be a villager, a horse. She's a horse, obviously. She's a horse villager. And if you scanned a Ganon amiibo, you scanned Ganondorf and you got Ganon, like a pig, that came and moved in to your village. And if you scanned Wolf Link, you would get Wolf Link! A wolf will come and live in your village! If you scanned the Wolf Link amiibo, you get a New Leaf. And you also, if you scanned, I think, the Callie Marie amiibo from Splatoon 1, you got squirrels that look like Callie and Marie to come and live in your village. And Nintendo did not bring... G2! I don't know who that is. Who's that dude? He's like a rapper. Is he a rapper or something? I don't know. But yeah, he's G2. I'm going to show this meme. No, it's G2. Because I said to this day, this meme's funny. Hang on, can I display this? Hang on a sec. How do I display? I didn't set up the thing. Yeah, can you see that? Yeah, can you see this meme? To this day, right, I'm still salty that they did not... Listen, Nintendo based their own game... I understand they didn't bring back the Monster Hunter. There's a whole bunch of Monster Hunter stuff. You could have a Monster Hunter villager. You could have one of those palicos to come and live in your village. Like a little cat, come and live in your village. There's a whole bunch of Monster Hunter stuff in New Leaf. They didn't bring that, and I understand that was licensed. But the licensed stuff they brought back the Sanrio licensed. They reprinted those cards used to be worth a fortune, but they reprinted the 6 Sanrio cards, brought back the Sanrio items, and then later when they did an update and they brought other villagers, they brought the Sanrio villagers back. You can get the Sanrio villagers in New Horizons, which is licensed. So they must have paid for that, but they didn't bring back their own their special villagers from New Leaf. I'm still salty. I'm still salty about that. They didn't. But I wanted Wolf Link in my village in New Horizons. I wanted Wolf Link. I'm salty. That is one of the most fraudulent things that Nintendo's ever done. It's one of the most fraudulent things they've ever done. The cards on the 3DS never came out in the yes they did. The cards, when New Horizons came out, then it came out for the US. What, the Sanrio cards? You could get them in the US. I'm pretty sure you could. Yeah, the Sanrio, are you sure? I thought they were. Or maybe I'm wrong about that. But yeah, they were worth a fortune, then they reprinted them. So you can get them now. I still don't have I collected like most of the amiibo cards. I don't have the Series 5 ones. I got really weird and obsessed with... Anyway, I want to talk about my amiibo obsession. I still need to get the Series 5 ones. Like, I need to get on that, actually. I need to get on that. I don't have the Series 5 album. I don't know if I have it. Oh, I do have it. Oh, wait, did I buy the Series 5 cards? Or maybe I did buy them. No, I didn't. Well, I need the Series 5 cards. So yeah, to this day, I'm salty. They did not bring back the mini games. They did not bring back the. You could go to the islands. You could go to and play mini games with other people with like via online or local play. They did not bring that back from goddamn New Leaf. And now with Nintendo fraudulently turning off the 3DS and Wii U online services prematurely, in my opinion, they could have gone for another. They could have gone. If they had, this is what they should have done in my opinion, they should have waited until the successor to the next system was announced before they then announced this, but they were turning it off. If they'd done that, people wouldn't have been as bothered, you know. They should have, that's what I think they should have done. But because at that point you're like, oh well, this is 2 generations ago, so I guess it's okay. But yeah, no, they turn them down. They turn them lies. Who's lying? Who's lying? You're lying, Vinny. VMAX comes in here, won't defend Atlas. He's too scared to come and defend Atlas. People would have complained about what? About the special villagers? What's he talking about? OTW. What does OTW mean? OTW. Over the wall. Oh, VMAX here! Oh, I see! Now he's gonna come in and defend. Oh, no, let's go! VMAX, the Atlas stand, come in and defend this fraudulent ass company. Come in and defend Nintendo about this fraudulent stuff that they've done. Oh, I can't hear him. Hang on, sorry, 1 second. Why is his volume so low? I'll turn him up. I can't hear you, VMAX. Can you?
Hey everyone.
Oh, now I can hear you. Hi, I'm doing okay, VMAX. I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing my best. So what's this lies that I'm hearing about, that they should have waited and Nintendo's fraudulent, and if they just would have waited to the next system that would have softened the blow? Is that the lie you're speaking?
Right. First of all, that's not a lie. It's just my opinion. Right. I don't know that it would have softened the blows because I can't rewind time and get them to make another decision. I just think that. And yes, I think Nintendo the turn off the online services thing is kind of annoying, and the eShop isn't annoying. But the most important thing here is that they did not bring back the special villagers and the mini games from New Leaf into New Horizons. That is the fraudulent thing here.
So you're not playing that game. So you're being fraudulent like everybody else always complains when this stuff comes up. Here's the perfect analogy for when these things come up. Here's the perfect analogy. Is when we were kids, or if you have kids, it's time to clean up the garage. It's time to clean up your closet, and let's throw away the toys you're not playing. And what do we always do? We always say, no, I want to keep the toys. That's what's happening here. Nobody's playing the Wii U. Nobody's playing the 3DS. I'm sure there's a small community out there. I know there's a small community out there.
There are.
But it's not enough to keep those type of stuff going. It's just not enough. If all these companies, Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, whatever, if they say you have to pay a fee and we'll keep these servers on indefinitely, but you have to pay for it, people will complain about that. Why am I paying to play these old games? It's just something to complain about. No matter when these would have been turned off, people all would have came out and complained. Even though your 3DS is collecting dust, your Wii U is boxed up, never to be played again, people still would have been complaining that these servers are being turned off.
I agree with you. People.
The only thing I get behind is that the eShops are going down. I can get behind that. But the actual servers for these games that you're not playing, nobody's playing Xenoblade Chronicles X for the online gameplay. You're not doing that. You're playing the game in a single player great adventure mode. So you're not playing Bravely Default for its online services. You're not doing that.
Not now. I'm not. Well, I never had a Wii U personally. And yes, you're right. People would have complained.
Personally, and yet here you are calling Nintendo fraudulent.
I'm calling fraudulent for not bringing back the special villagers from New Leaf. Yes, I'm calling fraudulent. They own that. They own that special. They own the Metroid and Zelda and all these other franchises, and special villagers and special furniture. They had. You could have all this like Zelda furniture and stuff in your house in New Leaf. Yes, that is fraudulent. Why did they not bring that stuff back? Why can't I have Epona and Wolflink in my goddamn village in Animal Crossing New Horizons, VMAX? How is that not fraudulent? Exactly. That's my case.
I never played that game, so I have no attachment to that. So
that's my case.
If that's something that the Animal Crossing community is complaining about,
yes, they are. They've complained about it.
That you guys have that argument.
They complained about it. That's why New Leaf, in many ways, New Horizons is an excellent game, but there's a few features I think they should have brought back from New, and I'm very surprised they did not bring them back. The mini games, especially the mini games and the I was really surprised they didn't bring that stuff back, and especially villages and furniture. In regards to I think people would have complained. I think there's not the more time there is, the more time that's there. And if they had, for example, wait until the successor had launched, not launched, but like been announced. I think it would have softened the blows. People would still complain, but I think it would have softened the blow of that. I'm just like, I'm just salty about, the special villagers, but that's me.
We're going to complain about it now because it was just announced, and then come March when that final update. Hey, everybody! Remember, come April, we'll turn it off. We're going to have the same conversation again.
Yeah, probably.
It's something to complain about. So,
I mean,
you got time to play these games online, complete the games online, get to the top of the leaderboard, have you place in history. But people are going to complain again in March over the same stuff that they haven't played right now. They're not playing those games.
Yeah, so we don't know the figures of like how many people were playing online, or how many people were before they closed the eShops. How many people were buying games on those eShops, and the problem is it usually gets to a point where they cost more to run than the money that they're generating, right? And as any company, Nintendo's a capitalistic company, they all do that, so it's inevitable. But
there is a solution. You can say we're going to keep these servers on, but you have to pay a fee. So now you have to weigh that cost. So us as consumers, are we willing to pay a fee for something that a lot of the community has moved away from, or are we going to pay that fee? So now it comes down to let's say it costs Nintendo $5 a month to keep those servers going. Let's just make up a number here. $5 a month to keep the servers going plus maintenance. So they're going to want to make money on top of it. So they're going to charge you $10 for the average person to keep that going. You have to pay $10 a month. How many people are going to pay $10 a month to access the Wii U online?
But what's interesting,
you may have your first adopters, but a lot of people are going to drop off quickly because there's not enough people there. And I'm sure these companies have to have these types of conversations. Can we make money off of it? Well, we'll take a look at the data right now, and the data shows that a small sample size does play it. Okay, how much of that sample size are going to pay for it? Probably 10%. Okay, how much money do you think we're going to come in? We're going to come in with X. Is it worth it? No, it's not.
Yeah,
and that's how these decisions are made.
What's interesting
a lot of people still playing these games. These servers will still be open.
Yeah, what's interesting is that we don't know the figures of how many people were using it. It might be possible that Nintendo kept them running as long as they could until the cost outweighed the money that they were making. It was not cost efficient. We don't know.
Agreed.
So so in terms of like a fee, I mean, they never did that. They never offered that option. So I can't really comment on that except to say that something like that probably wouldn't work. There just wouldn't be enough people to, even if you said we're going to pay and do it just wouldn't make sense, like business-wise, to do something like that. So yeah, I don't think any of the, I don't think Microsoft or Sony would do that either. It doesn't really make any sense. It's probably best to move on. So yeah, it could be possible that there was so few people using it and playing that it just wasn't worth them keeping them going. And like, don't forget, they're not generating any money from them being on. With the eShop, yes, they were, because it was of transactions. But with just the online part, like you can play online, there's no money. You can't pay them even if you wanted to, you can't pay them anything. So yeah, it was just a money pit for the online services. So
that's why I kind of just ignore those types of conversations. I know those conversations happen. I'm sure they are fraudulent in nature, just to complain. Fine.
I know. I never complain to complain.
Come March, we're gonna have the same conversation again, because Nintendo's gonna have to let us know, and these conversations are gonna come back up. So,
I was far more annoyed.
And come sometime in March, we'll be having this conversation again.
I was far more annoyed about them closing the eShops than about them turning off the online services, because with the closure of the eShops, it means that many games are going to be inaccessible to most people. Now I know there's ways through emulation things to play some of these games, but the average person can't do that or doesn't want to do it. You know, that it's just not accessible for most people to do that. So some games just cannot be, they're gone. They cannot, there's no way of legally obtaining them. And some fraudulent companies tweet out about the anniversary of these games that you cannot buy because they refuse to port those games to modern systems. Okay? Yes, I'm talking about SMT4 and SMT4 Apocalypse. Fraudulently tweeted out the anniversary. They know you can't buy this. There's no way of buying those games at all, right? Mm-hmm. And they know that.
Right. I've never really stood by that argument. I get what the argument is trying to do. I get the spirit of that argument. But growing up with the Atari, you know, going from the Atari to PlayStation 5, I'm not convinced that somebody born in 2010 is interested in playing legacy Nintendo games. Is that person out there? Sure. You know, if they're watching some YouTube video or reading an article and it's talking about the top 25 greatest Nintendo games of all time and they're interested in playing it, I'm sure those people exist. But I'm never going to be convinced that somebody from that far back is interested in playing games that far back. I'm just not. I'm not convinced of that. I get people in my generation who may want to long for those days of going back and playing E.T. on the Atari or the Adventures of the
Ain't nobody want to play E.T. on the Atari.
You know, just these. I'm not talking about the games that everybody knows. So the Chrono Triggers and the Mixed Disc Quest. I'm talking about older games like the Adventures of Lolo 1, 2, and 3.
Some of that stuff.
Ninja Gaiden 1. These older games. The Guardian Legend, RC Pro Am Racing, the games that nobody talks about but are still legacy games on their own. I don't believe that person exists. I really don't. So to say these people, they'll never be able to play those games. I don't know if they want to play those games. We see these people all the time. You have Final Fantasy VII Remake out now. How many people who played Remake want to go back and play the original? Not very many. It doesn't.
Not that many, and that's why they made Remake, I guess.
Right. So you got a lot of people asking for a remake of Final Fantasy VI because they don't want to go back and play Final Fantasy VI. It's very easy today to play the legacy Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, that game.
And those people that buy those games are in our generation. They buy it because of nostalgia. They're not buying it because I want to play it. They buy it because of nostalgia. It brings them back to a better time.
I mean, yeah, obviously, like for a lot of some of these retro games, older games, there's going to be people buying them for nostalgia, and they probably do skew older for that reason. But when some of these retro games have released, like the ones as old as you're talking about, like literally going back to, I don't know about Atari, that's like really far, but like if we're going back to like Famicom and NES, right? So there is those games, that some of those games they brought back, they have sold well. We have examples of that, like you said, the Pixel remasters sold well, and then also the what was that thing, the mini console that Nintendo did, I can't remember, it was the mini NES or whatever it was, which sold really well at the time. So I mean, like who was buying that? I don't know, but people were buying it. But now there's nostalgia for example, for GameCube games now, which is why Nintendo's doing these GameCube remasters and stuff like that,
right? And
they're selling pretty well,
But you don't want to play, and I'm talking about you specifically. You don't want to play Shin Megami Tensei 1. You don't want to play Shin Megami Tensei 2. You don't play Persona 1.
Yes, I bloody do. And there's no legal way of me doing it because Atlas is so goddamn fortunate they wouldn't even port those games, the old games. And I said this before. Imagine Square Enix is mismanaged, right? But at least they bring back and they port some of those old games. And I was like, imagine if Square Enix refused to port their games from the Famicom, Super Famicom, PS1, PS2. Imagine if Square Enix refused to port those games and they were just stuck on those dead systems. Imagine that. That is Atlas. That is Atlas. The vast majority of their games that have not even been released out. You know that. Go and look up Megami Tensei franchise. Look up Megami Tensei franchise. There's over 100 games. Over 100 Megami Tensei games, and only a fraction of them have ever even been released outside of Japan and localized. And then they will do things like fraudulently celebrate the 30th anniversary of SMT when they know good damn well we can't play SMT 1 and 2. They know that. And the same with Persona. They know the 25th anniversary of Persona. Where's Persona 1 and 2 on modern platforms? Where's Persona 1 and 2? And I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that fraudulent mobile Japanese only version that they've put on Nintendo Switch online, or the arcade, not online, or the arcade. I don't care about all this stuff they put on Nintendo Switch online in Japan only. That does not count. That doesn't absolutely not count, because again, it's Japan only. It wouldn't even cost them that much, and they already have an official localization of SMT1 because that was released on iOS years ago, and that's been delisted, and you can't get it. This is what I'm talking about. You don't know why I say Atlas is fortunate. These Atlas stands, David Cast JRPGs, King Narukami, Spencer, come at me and defend this company. Come at me. I've been asking them to come at. They won't do it. I've been asking them. Where are they? Exactly. I rest my case. Vinnie Mac.
So most people are not going to want to play these games because those are first-person dungeon crawlers. So Persona 1, Persona 2, your Shin Megami Tensei 1 and 2, those are first-person dungeon adventures.
I know what they are.
Those games may sell because of the Persona name, but those games will be ravished in the reviews. So the only way to play those games,
people would review them as what they are, as retro first-person dungeon crawlers. People aren't gonna be like. I mean, it'd be stupid to. Who cares about the reviews of those games? They're old games that have already been out. They've already been reviewed. It's about having them accessible on modern platforms. Where Atlas has made a point of like, oh, we're celebrating this franchise we have, which is, like I said, it's overall just the Megami Tensei franchise. Like I said, there's over 100 of these games, Vinnie Mac, and you're like, I don't know if you've ever looked into it and seen literally how many games they have in this franchise. It's like, it is over 100. So we're not just talking. You're talking about just Persona, and just Shin Megami, because Shin Megami Tensei is a spin-off itself of Megami Tensei. The Shin just means new, because they let's make it into. It was based on the novel originally. The first game was based on a novel.
Talking about, so if you're trying to convince me that you specifically would like to play games created for the home computer in the 1980s, I'm going to call cap on that. There's absolutely no way you are fantasizing about the day that Atlas ports a game from 1987, so you can play it on your PlayStation 5.
Yes, I bloody am. Yes, I am. Yes.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe me? I go back and I've played retro games, and I've tried to, I've tried to set up like an emulator to play them and stuff like that. But there's no other way of me. Like, I'd have to like do an emulator, find language patches and things like that. That's the only way to play them, basically.
The first game is the Digital Devil Story, launched in Japan.
Yeah, I know
in July
what it is.
1987.
Yes, I know. But there was two different versions of that game, and one of them was made by Atlas, and one of them was, I can't remember the other company. There's two different ones made.
Right. So you were trying to tell me that you and your ilk are longing for the days that this game from 1987 can be ported for.
Why do you keep saying this game from 1987? I know when it's for. I know Vinnie Mac. I've looked into. I know their games that they've made. Yes, it would be good. They could. Vinnie Mac. It would cost them a pittance. They oh my God. They've got them Famicom games. Vinnie Mac.
Oh, okay.
It cost them hardly anything. Famicom and like a computer, whatever it is, one of them's from the computer games. It wouldn't cost them a lot to do it. Yes, and for the legacy and the history, yes, I think they should bring those games forward to modern platforms like Square Enix has. Square Enix at least they haven't done it with all of their games. But there's a good. Some of them
for Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Where are those people at? That's a great Final Fantasy. and nobody is talking about.
I
want
think they
Fantasy
did.
Quest, Final Fantasy USA. I want that ported over. Nobody is saying
that.
that.
Has been, that wasn't that. I feel like that was. They
that was never ported over.
Wait, which one?
Final Fantasy USA. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
So is that the one that was like actually Final Fantasy 3, but they said it was Final Fantasy 1 in the US? Is it that one?
I think that was so before Final Fantasy 3 came over, because us Westerners were too scared of the RPGs. Squaresoft created a Final Fantasy dedicated to us. Final Fantasy Space.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
It's a very fun game, but it's extremely easy. It's fine. It's Final Fantasy for babies.
Oh, okay. So they made
that game has not been ported over in any.
That's wild. It's wild that back then these companies were like, oh no, the Westerners, the Americans, they can't handle this. They have to have dumbed down. But that's why they made the Doki Panic. They made it into Mario 2, Super Mario Brothers 2. But that wasn't the real one. The real one is the one that they call Lost Levels now, and it was like super, super, super hard. And they're like, oh, they can't handle this. And it was after the video game crash as well, so they didn't want to like spook. They didn't want to spook people in the US with like really hard games. So yeah. So Squaresoft wasn't the only company that did that. I think there was Nintendo did it, and I think some other companies as well after the video game crash. I guess they did. Yeah, they did. But yeah, that game. I didn't even know about that game. But yeah. I don't know if they maybe they didn't bring that one back, but they did, to be fair, bring back the Final Fantasy 1 to 6 available on modern platforms, which Square Enix should be commended for. Now people are salty about not having the GBA versions of like I think it's Final Fantasy 4 or 3. Anyway, they made versions for I think the GBA that added content and stuff like that, so people are kind of salty about that. It's not like the pixel remasters are not like the original versions from the Famicom. They look anyway, you can look at it, people can go look at them themselves. They're a bit different. They kind of like unified the art style a little bit. I kind of changed them a bit, but I mean they play the same, and they added in a new soundtrack, the optional soundtrack, but yeah, I mean at least they did bring those forward to modern platforms, and many of the other games now, Square Enix hasn't done it with all their games. There's some games where people are like begging for like Xenogears or whatever it is, and those games haven't been brought forward, but they've done it with a lot of quite a lot of their games, but Atlas just like meh, not doing it. No, we're just gonna milk Persona 5 forever. That's just literally what they're doing, which is why there's no new SMT. What I think anyway, why there's no new SMT spin-offs. There are some people in the Atlas community that are crying for these SMT spin-offs, and they're just not making them anymore. I mean, like there's Devil Survivors and all these ones that the people want, but yeah, I think Atlas has killed them off in favour of Persona 5 spin-offs, and I think that's all they're going to do, and I think they're not even going to bring forward Persona. I do think that's like not being able to play those on modern platforms, because for example Persona 2, it has 2 games to it. The second one was never released in Europe, for example. So we never even had that one. It was never released in Europe. So you can't get it. So, like, for example, you can get, if you have a PlayStation Vita, right? So you can, Sony didn't close those shops down because people flipped the F out when Sony tried to close the Vita and PS3 stores. People, like, flipped their... they just went crazy, and so Sony didn't close them down. They're still open now. Their shops are still open, and I borrowed my friend's Vita and looked at stores and looked at those games, but because I am in Europe, I cannot buy the which one is it called? Innocent Sin, and I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, the second the second game of Persona 2, so I cannot buy it here. There's no way for me to get it on the Vita eShop. Or not eShop, I guess not called the eShop, is it? Well, you know what I mean. The eShop. It's got a PSN store. Store. Can't get it, and also can't get. Yeah. So that one, it was never released in Europe. So it's things like that. And there's other games. There's some games that were never just never released in Europe, because when they had to release the games in Europe, they had to first of all they had to do all different languages. Like, it's not just English. They had to put like multiple languages on like the cartridges, and also like the power regions back then. There was like they had to cut the frame rate of the games because of the voltage of the televisions, which isn't an issue now with modern televisions, but back then it was. And yeah, so they had to do stuff. So then some games just never released in Europe. For example, Super Mario RPG never released in Europe. Are you there, Vinny Mac? He's still
listening. Where do you go?
Oh, okay.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah. What else would you like to chat about? Oh, sorry, was it, Yeshua says, oh, wait, hang on, let me read this. The PS1 version of Eternal Punishment has been released on the European store. Is that the second one, Yeshua? The Eternal Punishment? I remember power speed being a topic on emulation. It is, which is why, for example, for the Nintendo 64 Online, for Europe, people were worried that they would just get the PAL, because the PAL versions have all the other languages in it which you need for Europe, right? So people would be like, oh, we're only going to get the PAL versions. They suck because they cut the frame rate. But they offered, actually in Europe, you can choose either version. You can choose to have the PAL version or the NTS, I think it's the NTSC version, which is, has the original frame rate of 60 frames, right? So basically, yeah, because they can't just, like, it's two different ROMs, so you can't just, like, they'd have to put actual, like, a lot of development work to put the languages in, like, it's not just like drag and drop. They'd have to like redo, and they ain't gonna put that effort into it. So the PS1, so Yeshua says the PS1 version of Eternal okay, so which one am I thinking of then? There's one of those games that was not released in Europe, and you're saying they released it on where? On the European store. Please clarify that, Yeshua, because I thought one of them was not released in Europe. But anyway, you get where I'm coming from with some of these games, and this is an issue with just game preservation in general. It's not specific to just Atlas or Nintendo or whatever. It's like it's a general issue with game preservation, which is more challenging, I think, than preservation of like visual or audio media. I think it's a bit more challenging to preserve them. But yeah, I mean, a lot of things have been preserved. Like, people even managed to preserve those those Satella games that they only released in Japan. You can find ROMs of those and stuff like that, but you have to be kind of like hardcore and know where to. It's not like just like having stuff accessible is good. Like like Nintendo has a retro service and Sony has it. Although the offerings aren't necessarily the best for the Sony, what's it called again? PS. If you get PS Plus Premium, with the Premium you get they said retro games. So that's like PSP and PS1 and PS2 games. Okay, so Yeshua has a clarification here. Both Persona 2 has been released. Innocent Sin as a PSP game, Eternal. Okay, so they did release Eternal Punishment as a PS1 classic. Thank you for that clarification, for that correction, Yeshua. Okay, so you can get. The problem is they did, but they're not on a modern platform. You have to get it on the Vita, or I guess maybe the PS3. Is that correct? Their stores are still open now, but for how much? I'm surprised Sony's let them go this long because they were just so afraid of the backlash that they let them like slide. Whereas Nintendo shutting theirs down. They already shut them down, and I think even Xbox announced they're shutting down the 360 store, right, or something. I'm sure they announced that recently.
Yeah, I'm not familiar which Xbox store is still up.
The
think they are in process of the 360 because
yeah.
It's a Game Pass.
Say that again, please.
I think it's the 360 that's being shut down because a lot of that's being migrated over to the Game Pass ecosystem.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing because I think like they're shutting that down. But yeah, there wasn't.
Xbox Gold could be what you're thinking of that's being migrated as well.
Sorry, I didn't hear you a second. Say that again, please.
I think Xbox Gold could be what you're thinking of that they shut down and migrated over to one of their Game Pass.
They did.
Tiers.
They have done that, but I was referring to the actual like the store, the equivalent of the eShop on the 360. They announced they're shutting that down. But anyway, what I'm saying is there wasn't like a huge backlash for that. Like when Sony and the thing is, Sony announced that like I want to say it was like 2 years ago now or something like that. It was well over a year ago that they said, "Oh, we're shutting down the PSP, PS Vita, and PS3 stores." Then there was a backlash, and then they was like, "Okay, we're only going to shut down the PSP store," but they kept the PS Vita and PS3 store up, which are there. And there's a lot of these PS1 classics that you can buy on those stores that are not available on the modern PSN store. So there are a few cases of some of those games where they did put them in the premium PS Plus service, and they said if you had a purchase of one of those games from the Vita or the PS3, that they would honour that and you'd get a copy of that game. But it's not that many games. There's very few games at the moment. So they could do better with bringing some of those games forward. But I like now when it comes. I know you love talking about subscription services, Vinny Mac, for whatever reason. But I do think that the subscription services can be a way to preserve some of those games, have access to some of those games. So obviously PlayStation has the PS Plus Premium. I do think they need to, because they are charging a lot of money, right? So the premium thing, from my understanding, what the premium offers you that extra doesn't is access to these retro games, and I think PS3 streaming PS3 games, and maybe some special offers and stuff like that. Maybe some special offers, but those are the two main things. So the main thing, because people aren't too hot on the streaming, so the main thing people were interested in was the retro games. So I think they need to improve that. And then Nintendo has their Nintendo Switch Online, which I think they can improve that as well. And that Microsoft has like their backwards compatibility program, which is basically they called it that, but it's actually like emulation basically. It's not like hardware backwards compatibility. Even if you put the disc in, it just allows you to download the copy emulated copy of the game for free. Basically, it's the way it works. It doesn't play from the disc. But so Microsoft one is the most generous, because it's essentially free if you have a physical copy of like the 360 game or a few original Xbox games, but mostly 360 games. So it's essentially free. So this is the most generous. I think part of the reason for that extreme generosity is that when they started that program, it was in the doldrums of the Xbox One days. And Microsoft is a rich company, and they wanted to have a lot of goodwill and good publicity and stuff like that, which that program did do. They've discontinued it, but you can still. Well, they've stopped adding in new games, but you can still like get the games, basically. So but Sony and Nintendo charge for them. Although with Sony, there's a few of the games you can just buy in like a la carte on the PSN store, whereas Nintendo does not offer that at all. they're pretty much only in that service. And then some of them are, they make there's regional differences, but some of these ones are only in Japan, and then Atlas putting all these goddamn Famicom, Super Famicom games on the goddamn Japanese online thing, but not anywhere else. But the reason they're doing that because they don't want to localize it, because they're not just going to put a RPG like Vinnie Mac was saying, oh, it's not old ass Famicom games, in just full Japanese that no one can play in the West, because you can't read it, and it's difficult to read as well because of the character, because it's like in pixels, right? It's like so it's kind of difficult.
Right. Even the hardcore RPG folks are not going to want to play that type of game. I'm a hardcore RPG, and I have no interest in a first-person dungeon crawler.
But that's you.
Even good first-person dungeon crawlers made today that are deemed good by the RPG community. I'm not interested in playing.
Okay, well, no, I agree with you that
come back there, first-person dungeon. No,
that type of RPG is very niche, and for the most part, there are some modern first-person dungeon crawlers that are made, but you're right, they're not. They've gone out of fashion. Not a lot of them are made anymore. There's some, and then there's some like ones made to be like to harken back to that style, like modern indie games that they make them deliberately look like that sort of thing. But yeah, it's not that popular of a genre. But like when it comes to game preservation, the history of games and franchises, especially with Atlas, that has I feel like some important franchises that they're inaccessible. You just can't. It's like most of these games you cannot get or play on, and they were on all different goddamn consoles. All different. Etrian Odyssey. That was a first-person dungeon crawler. Yeah, that to be fair, yes, you said that was only a few years ago. That was that the last one was 5. Etrian Odyssey 5 was on the 3DS, right? Wasn't that the last one, or one of the last ones? And then the Persona Q games, which was kind of like it was basically like Etrian. Persona Q was good. I really, really, really enjoyed that game. That was really good.
It was more about the story as opposed to the actual dungeon crawling. When you actually play the game, it plays just like Etrian Odyssey game. It's a fusion of the two. You gotta build your own map, and it's first person battling, first person dungeon crawling. The main hook, in my opinion, was the story. And the fact that it had English voice acting. So a lot of the cutscenes were English voice acting. You're already familiar with those characters from Persona 3, Persona 4.
Well, I wasn't personally.
Persona 5, too.
When I played it, I didn't even know what Persona was. I had no idea what it was. I just played the game completely blind. Because my friend said, "Oh, this is a good game. Play this." And it was like an offer at the time. I don't know if Nintendo does this anymore, but they used to on your birthday give you like a special offer to get money off games. So I did that and bought Persona Q. And I don't think they do that anymore. They did it back then. And so my friends, "Oh, this is a good game, play this." I didn't know what Persona was. I had no idea what it was. I was like, "What is Persona? I've never heard of this." But I personally enjoyed the dungeon, going through the dungeon like that, and I liked drawing the map. So they have an option when you're drawing the map for it to like auto draw, like it can kind of draw like I got that goddamn stylus out and I hand drew the map. I liked doing it. It was like kind of therapeutic doing that. It was kind of like relaxing. I personally really liked that game, but I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea. I don't know if they will bring I don't know. As we know, Atlas is extremely fraudulent. They said multiple years ago, they had an announcement trailer that they were making a new Etrian Odyssey game. Where is it? That was years and years and years ago. There's no Etrian Odyssey game. I do not think they're doing it. They did bring back some of the DS Etrian Odyssey games, but then people kicked up a fuss because A, they were overpriced, B, there was no physical in the West, and C, it was the DS versions. There's like there were 3DS versions of that. Like, okay, so there's like that. There was other versions of the game where they were like different. They added content and stuff like that. Where they they kind of like remade them a bit. And then people were salty that it wasn't those versions. I don't know, man. Listen, I haven't played those games. I don't know what the differences are. People saying there was differences and it was salty. So they wanted the other ones, the newer ones, and I don't know. I just know that I looked. I was like, okay, they're closing down the eShop. I can't get these goddamn games. Let me have a look. eBay. I try not to swear. They were a fortune. Those games were so expensive. I couldn't buy them. This is what I mean. And to this day, I do not have a physical copy of SMT4 Apocalypse because Atlas printed hardly any of them. We got hardly any of them in Europe, and it cost a goddamn fortune for that game. I can't get it. I'm getting cross now. Finny Mac, please take over. Oh my god, I'm so cross. Finny Mac.
So I do want to talk about Dragon Quest Die. So I know that you brought up some. I wasn't sure the point that your team was making. So I mean, real succinctly, tell me when you say that the Dragon Quest franchise has been managed. I mean, I know that was earlier between you and Mario DK.
Yes.
I guess I'm more interested in what you guys mean when you say it was mismanaged, because every single Dragon Quest game has been. So I guess except 10. I don't want to hear about 10, but most, if not all, of the Dragon Quest games have been. Yeah, I'm not interested in 10 because it's just not coming over as of now. So who cares about 10?
They've made an offline version of the goddamn game, and they fraudulently said in 2018. No, it does matter. It does matter.
Game is not going to come by.
Goodfield. It does matter because in 2018, Square Enix said that if they ever made an offline version of that game, they would bring it to the West. That is what they said. They said that. I need to find the interview. They actually said that, and then they made an offline version of the game. And they're not bringing it to the West. That is the very definition of fraudulence, Finny Mac. That is literally fraudulence.
But there are a lot of games from overseas that don't get localized. So you just finished ranting.
I'm aware of that. But Square Enix said they was going to do something, and then they didn't do it.
They said they were thinking about localizing 10. They never promised that 10 was going to come out West. They never said that.
They said if they made an offline version of the game, which they did. Because they said they're not going to have online a Dragon Quest RPG, a Dragon Quest MMO in the West probably wouldn't do well. I understand. I agree. But they made an. By the way, where's the offline version of Final Fantasy XI? Why haven't they done that? Anyway, yeah. So they made an offline version of Dragon Quest 10, which plays basically like a traditional Dragon Quest game, because Dragon Quest 10 online is like action combat, right? So they made a turn-based offline one with little chibi characters in it, which they're not like kind of like chibi like that in Dragon Quest 10 online, but it looks different. Oh my god, I lost my track. What's the thing again? Oh yeah, okay. So this isn't really me that's proposed this, right? That said that, but a lot of people have said this and actually agree, right? So people say that Square Enix has mismanaged the Dragon Quest IP, the games, basically. For like the past like almost 10 years or so. So the reason is that they've had, for example, like with Dragon Quest 11, missing the peak, basically missing like the boat with having the game on the Switch, the console version of the game on the Switch when it launched on the PlayStation 4. So what they did, so basically it's kind of what happened when it comes to Dragon Quest. If you go and look at Dragon Quest,
time out. I'm not understanding what that has to do with being mismanaged. If you can argue that the Switch got a better version of what came out on the PlayStation 4.
Oh well, no, I'm not talking about yeah, I'm aware they made a better version eventually, but what I'm saying is the mismanagement issue. The mismanagement is like if they had managed it better, they would have been able to have the original version of the game, the original PS4 version of the game, like launch day and date on a Switch. No, was the Switch out when that game came out? Or I don't think it was. I don't think it was out. I don't think it was out yet. Was it 20? When did Dragon Quest 11 came out? It was 20.
Hold on, let me look that up.
Okay.
Dragon Quest.
Because I thought it was 20.
That game came out in 2017. Let me see. That game was released in July in 2017.
Okay, right.
In September.
Right, thank you. So they could have, in theory, right? The game could have been on the Switch because the Switch was out at that time. So if they had done, like, if they had planned better, but the reason why that wasn't okay. So what I was going to go is just quick, like, history of Dragon Quest games. When you look at Dragon Quest, right, it's a lot more than like Final Fantasy, which basically just switched platforms and stayed from Famicom, Super Famicom, just PlayStation, henceforth. Dragon Quest has been all over the place on all different platforms, right? If you look and actually see where the games have, or what platforms the games are released on. The reason for that is because they always put Dragon Quest games on the most popular system in Japan, just the one that just has just way more systems. That's what they did with every Dragon Quest game. If you go and look it up, it's always on the most popular system, right?
Okay.
So what happened was Dragon Quest 9 was on the DS, and then Dragon Quest 10 was on the Wii, and then they put that Wii version on the. I don't know if it was on PS3. I think it was PS3, but it was on everything. They put in Japan only. I'm gonna say in Japan only. This is only Dragon Quest 10 online is only in Japan, and they put it on everything, including a cloud version on the 3DS, which they recently announced that they're shutting down because of this online or this thing. Right. So then when it came to Dragon Quest 11, right, the Wii U flopped. The 3DS was like obviously the end of its life. Okay. The Switch, obviously they knew the Switch was, us consumers don't know what's going on. Square Enix knows. They have development, they get like 1-2 years advance notice. They get development kits and everything. That's how it works, how they get games out on systems. Square Enix knew, right? But what happened was, like, they bet on the wrong horse, right? They thought that the PS4 would be more popular than it was, okay? And then when they was developing the game, they was like, oh, bleep, 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 bleep. This system isn't doing as well as we thought. Quick, hit the emergency, make a 3DS version. That's what happened. They didn't plan that 3DS version from the start. There wasn't going to be a 3DS version. They had to do that because the game would have basically flopped. Flopped for a Dragon Quest game, right? It would have sold over 50% less, because if you go and look at what those versions sold when they launched, the 3DS version outsold the PS4 version at the time in Japan. So they basically had to do that. So along with that, the other thing they did is they made multiple, at the time, exclusive Dragon Quest games on the PlayStation 4. Right, so that includes that they made that Itadaki Street, they made what's it called? Dragon Quest Heroes. Eventually they did put those I think they put those on other platforms, right? I think only in Japan though. They did that eventually. They bit on the wrong horse, so they ended up missing the peak of the 3DS. They ended up missing the peak of the Switch by not planning. Right, so this is not just me saying this, like, it's other people that are saying this as well, Freddie Mac. And then, for example, like people say they've mismanaged the Monsters franchise, right? With what they did, apparently Joker's Joker or whatever, it didn't do. One of them didn't do that well. People said it was to do with, like, they're not putting enough monsters in the game, or they cut some. I don't know what they did. They cut the monsters. Yeshua says. Okay, I'll do it. Yeshua. I don't know what it is. Okay, a couple of things. Okay, Yeshua said that about Etrian Odyssey, Extra Odyssey was only in concept, it wasn't in production. That's what I'm saying, they teased it. The series is too successful for Atlas never to... Oh, well, okay. Well, Atlas is like Persona now. Like, I don't know, man. Are they making that there is no, like you said, there's no Extra Odyssey in production because the goddamn the composer of the games, he said, oh, when they announced the remasters, he said, oh yeah, I was involved with I redid some of the music, and you know, he said something about oh, I hope the if they make a new one. Sorry, he didn't know. If he didn't know, then you know, they're not making it. That's what people are saying anyway. Yes, Rustin, I was more interested in the announcement of Dragon Quest Offline than 12 back then. Yes, the Switch was out and Dragon Quest released on the 3DS. That's what I'm saying. Like, that game should have been additionally on the Switch, but they didn't plan it out properly, right? They should have had it on the Switch. And the other thing about like you know, obviously they had the S version later with like, you know, the orchestrated music. There was no orchestrated music for that game when it launched. Yeshua says, issue for Dragon Quest is that they released no Dragon Quest on 2020 and 2021 on Switch. Seemed they are to get the series back in order. Yeah, it's just certain things that they've done, and then the spin-offs. People think they've messed up spin-off. People like they messed up Dragon Quest Treasures. That game didn't sell that well. And what were the other ones? Like obviously Die is basically a disaster. And yeah, people are not happy what they did with Dragon Quest Monsters. Okay, but Monsters 3, I have to wait and see how Monsters 3 does. And then what was the other one? Okay, there's been like expansions for Dragon Quest 10. Those have done okay, but then mostly they are people buy them digitally again. Rita said, yes, I got here just in time for her Atlas run. Now, I already did that. You missed it. You missed it. Unless you got something new for me to run about.
Yeah, I thought I was going to hear, like, here's where they really dropped the ball. It really just sounds like people's personal opinions of how they wish that the Dragon Quest franchise was going, as opposed to here's what they did wrong. So,
no. People do feel like they dropped the ball because they missed the peak of the most popular. Like I said, but all the previous Dragon Quest games, they're always on the most popular system in Japan, except for with Dragon Quest 11, they messed that up, and didn't.
Dragon Quest 11 was released on the most popular system, which would have been the PlayStation 4.
The PlayStation 4 wasn't the most popular system, but they also put it on the 3DS.
Right, but they also put it on the 3DS, so there would not have been a Switch version.
No, they could. Why would there not be a Switch version? The Switch was out. Like I said, they didn't. Square Enix would get these development kits like a year plus in advance. They could have planned and made a Switch version. At launch. So they announced the Switch version at the Switch reveal the Switch presentation. They announced it.
Here's my point. If I'm going to agree, and I'm going to agree with you, saying that if they release on the most popular system, if you have a Switch out, that's not the most popular system. So there's no reason to get a Dragon Quest game out if we're going to agree that Dragon Quest comes out on the most popular systems, right?
Right, no, I'm just telling you what's happened in the past, right? But they did. I
know that. Yeah.
What's happened in the past? Obviously, you can't always predict what the most popular system is. But when it comes to Dragon Quest 11, they already had the Switch version in the works because they announced it at the Switch reveal presentation thing in March, and then the game didn't release until July. So they already had it. They was already making it. So they made multiple versions of the same game. They made 3 versions of Dragon Quest. 4 if you count the remaster that they did, right? They made multiple versions. They shouldn't have been like multiple versions released and they're staggered like that. It should have been just multi-platform, like one. Do you see what I'm saying? But they messed it up, so they had to do that. That's what people are saying. Maybe I'm not like explaining myself very well. But they were forced, as Yeshua says, they literally had to make that 3DS version. Right? Why would a company make, not even like porting the same game, they literally made a completely different version of the same game from scratch for 3D, like that they used to do back in the day when they put games on like the PS1 and the Game Boy Advance or something, right? They did that. They made what company would do that, like into the production of a game, like a console game? Oh God, we're going to make a 3DS version.
But that's what companies did when you had a console game and a handheld game. So you did have two versions of the same game.
Yeah, but they weren't. I was gonna say that's what they did back in the day. I'm talking about this game came out in 2017. That doesn't happen anymore. But they felt like they.
I mean, that's true because there is no handheld. But when the 3DS was here, there you would have a console game and then you may have a 3DS game.
Right, but I'm saying they did not plan from the start to have. There was not going to be a 3DS version during the production of Dragon Quest XI for PlayStation 4. That was the only version planned. They realized that the PlayStation 4 was not doing well in Japan, and they had to make a 3DS. The 3DS version was not planned from the start. It was during the production of the PS4 version. There's like we need to put this on the 3DS as well. Otherwise, we are going to lose a lot of money. That's what happened, basically. Yeah, they had to make it because of.
Read up on that. I'm gonna have to read it because I'm gonna have to read up on that because it sounds like we're saying that.
Well, I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up, Vinny Mac. That's what happened.
I know that, but I'm gonna have to read up more on the history of that because it's coming across as if the PlayStation 4 came out, then we have to create the 3DS, and that came out later.
No, they came out at the same time. The 3DS and the PlayStation 4 version came out at the same time. They made sure they released them both at the same time. Really, but the
if one was planned or not, if they both release at the same time, it doesn't matter at that point. Then,
no,
right? But then
hang on. It does matter. No. It does matter because they didn't plan to do a 3DS version. Then they did. Then they made a Switch version as well, but that version didn't come day and date with the other versions, right. Even though the Switch was out at that time. They announced they were doing that version in March at the Switch presentation. So they were already making it. Before because they announced it before Dragon Quest XI released. So they had a staggered release of this game across multiple platforms across years. That's not a company wouldn't do that. That's not the sort of thing you do, and this is mismanaged. Unless you have to do that. That's the thing. And I'm only talking about the mainline Dragon Quest. That's before you get into the spin-offs where they've made mistakes. Now, to be clear, Vinny Mac, this isn't like my proposal saying that they mismanaged Dragon Quest franchise. I've seen people say this, and I generally agree that it seems that it could have been managed a lot better than having, halfway through the development of the game, realizing, we have to make another version of the game because this one's not going to sell well enough for us to make enough money. And then also they made multiple versions of the same game. It's not the same game ported. Not with this game we ported it to multiple platforms. They made multiple versions, literally from scratch. The Switch version is not a port. So that's why when they ported Dragon Quest XI to other systems, it was the Switch version, because you can't just drag and drop the changes that they made onto the PS4 version. It's like at that point they would have to make another whole new game. So that's why the Switch version was ported with all the additional content and music and stuff.
So according to the consensus, what would have been the ideal path then, according to the consensus?
Yeah, people think that basically they should have, planned out to just have one version of the game launching multi-platform, basically, but that's not what happened. So and a worldwide. Don't forget it was. Well, don't forget it also wasn't a worldwide. It also was not a worldwide. Delay the game. It wasn't a worldwide release for any Mac. That's what I'm saying. It was staggered. There was no worldwide release as well.
I'm trying to understand. So in Japan, would have been the most ideal situation would have been to delay Dragon Quest XI until the Switch was ready to go. Is that
they wouldn't have.
Don't have the Switch version.
No.
And just really.
They wouldn't have to. The Switch was out, so if they had planned it properly from the start, then they would have been able to have those versions, because they knew this this next generation Nintendo system was coming. They had development kits. They were already making it, but they didn't plan it out so that the games could just release normally at the same time. They had this staggered release across of different. Why are they building a completely separate version of the game what company does that? Like they made three versions. They made three versions of Dragon Quest XI. You know, there's three separate versions that they made from scratch. The PlayStation 4 version, the 3DS version, and the Switch versions are completely different from scratch.
Right. Okay. So So I'm just trying to learn, just have a better understanding. So it sounds like the best solution would have been to delay whatever version that they had until they were ready to release the Switch version, and then just release just one version. Because
I don't know about delayed. I don't. Yes, but why wasn't it ready to go? Because they didn't plan it out properly. Matter. So if the ideal situation would have, and when I say delay, I don't mean delay in the way we think about it. I mean just not release the game until the Switch one was ready to go. So whatever term you want to use. That's why. Yeah, maybe if they'd have done that, they would have been able to have a worldwide. That's the other thing. They should have had a worldwide simultaneous release. They didn't. Dragon Quest XII will be the first Dragon Quest, like mainline Dragon Quest game with a worldwide simultaneous release, because a mainline Dragon Quest game has never had a worldwide simultaneous release. So you're saying the Western version didn't release until when? Like September? What did you say? It was later that year, right? In 2017?
The worldwide was 2018.
Or 2018. Well, that's what I'm saying. A year later, right? So, like, staggered release, like, you know, in terms of like platforms and regions and things like that. Yeah, no, that's not good management.
Right. But the localization. I'm not going to say that's bad management, since that's what the market was doing. So that's nothing new. Having Japan first and then it's localized worldwide. That's nothing new. So I'm not going to give them.
There's plenty. Take a point away. No, they could. They could have done that. It's not like 1992. They could have done that for 2017, 2018, whatever it was. Yes, they could have done that. At that point, the Pokemon Company had been doing it for multiple years. Yes, they can do that.
But the Pokemon Company has their own problems too.
Oh my god! Here's man moving the goalposts.
Very few games back then from that generation had day in and day out worldwide releases.
Moving the goal. Square Enix isn't some like rinky-dink little company. They could have done. VMAX, come on, man. They could have done it, but they didn't plan it out properly, right? Dragon Quest XII is supposed to be. They said it's going to be simultaneous worldwide release, which is much better. But the way the rollout of that game was not done well. It could have been done a lot better. Okay. So I kind of went over like most of the software with what is it? I don't know if anyone can even hear this music that's playing. Sorry, I missed. Is there comments there? J-Alpha says some of the best modern dungeon crawlers are great but super niche. Experience and Idea Factory have the more experience. Yes. Well, I don't know if that's a typo, but yes. They're very niche. Thank you, J-Alpha. Now, I'm not going to go too much longer. So, ViniMac, to wrap up that topic, is there anything else you would like to say?
No, I'm still not going to take any points away from a localization thing. Since most localization, Nintendo included, they weren't doing worldwide releases. Mm-hmm. So as of this generation is when we started getting worldwide releases.
And a good thing too. Now, whilst you're here, I'd like to talk to you about Foam Stars, because you also played the beta of this game, which was last weekend. So and Jago from our community also played it, but he's not here. He's busy today. But he did. Shout out to Jago. He's not here, but I do have a couple of his tweets that he made about the game that we will look at. But first of all, ViniMac, I would like to hear your impressions about Foam Stars.
I wasn't a big fan. I enjoyed the music. I thought the gameplay was slow. Now, it is a beta, so when the game comes out, it can be a totally different experience from what we did on the beta. So I'm just speaking solely on the beta. but it was very slow. It was very chaotic, very messy. I was not a big fan of the characters. I know that Splatoon is more weapon oriented, so you can have the same character, you get different weapons, and then they operate differently. Another thing I did not like, and I guess it's just the way the game is going to be, is that this game is more team based. With Splatoon, everybody knows what they're going to do, and then everybody just does their own thing. You're not really working in a team on the casual playthrough. Here's a little more team-oriented, and what I mean by that is, if I am chilled, or I'm about to die, my teammate can save me, and then I have a little bit of life left. So if you're not working in a team that's going to operate that way, it's just all over the place. So, and it is a combination of Splatoon meets Overwatch. You have the character shooters of Overwatch, and then the gameplay, I put that in quotations, of Splatoon. But I thought it was very slow, very clunky. If you are attached to a particular character, you can't use that character all the time because somebody else may get them. So I wasn't a big fan of that either. So, it's a pass for me as it is right now. I have no interest in the game. It was a decent experience. The story mode looks like that could be interesting, I guess. I don't know.
What story?
Well, if you remember the intro when they're doing the training,
I'm playing that now.
So it gives me the impression that it's going to have some type of monster shooter element to it. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm showing that now on the stream. They were like, they used like this. They said, oh, there's these like monsters that you in the tutorial you had to test out the skills and everything. You had to defeat these little, like, they look like floating sheep. So maybe they will have a story mode or a single player mode, although that at the moment that hasn't been announced. But it's possible. I agree. I do agree with a lot of what you're saying. The game. I'll tell you what I liked about the game first of all. I really like the music. The music is actually really good. It's actually really good. A lot of people say it reminds them of Persona. I guess Persona 5. I mean, I can see that a bit. So the music is actually genuinely good. I really like the character designs. They're pretty like unique and quirky. I really like the fact that it's kind of like party themed, and like every character like is kind of like dancing a little bit when you're just standing still. They kind of like tap their toe or like just like dance like as if there's some music going, like they're at a party. And they all do that despite the fact that some of them are holding very large weapons, so they're not moving as much, but they're all kind of dancing or tapping their toes or something. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I liked in general that it was kind of bright and colourful. And I liked, the overall theme was pretty good. Like you're in a Las Vegas themed kind of party town or something. So all that stuff was good, and I think that in concept the gameplay makes sense, but I think like the execution wasn't like that great. So I'll tell you what I didn't like. So Finimac is right, this is heavily inspired by Splatoon. So there's some people were saying, oh, it's not like Splatoon, it's not, there is, right? There's like even like weapons and special abilities that they've directly copied from Splatoon. Okay, so there's not, but that's fine, right? It's fine to copy ideas of other games. That's how we get, new games, new franchises and everything happening. I have no problem with that. So I like that this was influenced by Splatoon. But Finimac is right that unlike Splatoon, the way the weapons and everything work is very different, because it is more like Overwatch, where it's like a hero shooter. So each character has their own unique weapons and loadout that you can only use with that character. And so when you play the game, when you on the character selection, there's 4 people in each team, and on each team you can only have one of each character, and there's like I guess like a timer or whatever when you're picking the characters. So someone can just hit the button and pick a character before you, and it might be your favourite character or the character you're good at, you prefer that weapon, and it's like, well, tough, you can't play that character. So I agree with you, Vinnie Mac. I didn't like that. Now, I knew it was going to be like a kind of hero shooter, but I didn't know you wasn't going to be able to pick your preferred character. That part I actually didn't realise, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. I wasn't expecting for me to be, because it was one character with the dual pistol. She was the fastest, in my opinion, because of when you reload, you actually go through a reload animation, which I didn't like either. You know, so if you are going to give me this champagne bubble style game, allow me to reload that way. If I'm going to surf, and the way you speed up or the way you go faster is by spilling your champagne and then sliding on your champagne, whatever they want to call it. I don't know.
I got the impression that it's like champagne bubbles, but it could be like they're saying it's soap bubbles. They don't specify, but to me it's kind of like, because of the party theme and that you do see champagne bottles and stuff like that, I was thinking it's like champagne foam. I kind of was thinking, but I guess it doesn't really matter. But but it's kind of like it would be funny if it was champagne, because then the whole, like, everywhere would just smell of alcohol. But I mean they don't specify. So Vinimac is right. So this is like directly like influenced by Splatoon, in the sense that you are shooting at your foam, and then on your own team's colour you can move very fast. Either by walking you can move fast, you can like move normally, I should say, and then you can move even faster by using the surfboard, which is directly analogous to when you're in squid form, or I guess octopus form either, as well. When you are but they call it swim form now, because you can get the octopus, the octolings. Or when I'll just say squid, but when you're in the squid form, you can swim in the ink and move really, really fast. But the actual inklings themselves don't move that fast when they're like in kid form or human form, right? So, but when you're on the enemy foam, right, you move slowly, you get covered in their foam, which means if you just by walking on it, you can end up getting like balled up, like in a ball, and then you can get chilled, which is what they call like a kill, or taking someone out. You can't move fast with your surfboard on the enemy foam. So that's exactly like Splatoon. So with Splatoon, you can move fast on your own ink, and you can swim through your own ink. But if you go on the enemy ink, you move really slowly, you get stuck, and you eventually get covered in ink, and then you get splattered, right? And then you go and respawn. So with this game, I agree with Mac. The thing is the loading. So when you hit reload, you can have it like automatic as well. When you run out of liquid, is what they call it. Run out of liquid, it automatically. But you can hit. I was like maybe it was square. I can't remember which button it was now. I think it was square to reload. But unfortunately, like they've designed the game like this, because when you're like in one of the tips it gives you, it tells you about this, right? That you go through this reload animation and you can't move, or you just move a little bit. You can't really do anything whilst you're reloading, and they say in the tips, when you I think they say it's like it's an opportunity to get someone when they have to reload. I'm sure it says something like that. Basically, I didn't like that. So the difference is in Splatoon, which is very fast paced, that you can regain the ink just by submerging the ink. Now, if you just stand still, you will just regain the ink anyway, but it's way slower. It's faster if you submerge in your own ink, and then you can gain it. So you can move, you can be swimming around, right? And gain ink whilst you're also moving. So it's very fast paced, and there's a lot of movement options in Splatoon, especially in Splatoon 3, where they added the squid roll and the I can't remember the one where you can. There's another one, I can't remember the name of it though, where you can kind of almost do like a surprise attack straight up a wall. I've forgotten what that one's called. Anyway, it's a squid. So there's a lot of movement options. foam stars felt very slow. Very slow. Also, the thing that I didn't like the most for Mac, I'll be honest with you, is that like it was so chaotic. I just could not tell what's going on, because in Splatoon, like, it kind of seems like there's like this ink flying all over the place, but the shape of nothing changes, because it's just you're on a stage and the ink always lies flat, completely flat to the stage. Whereas in this, I get what they were going for and why they did this. They made it so that the foam piles up and you can stack up your own foam, and the arena's like way more open. It's almost like just an open like ring. They were very open. Oh, it's Squid Surge, thank you. The other move you can do in Splatoon 3 is Squid Surge. Sorry, the name completely escaped me. Squid Surge and Squid Roll is what you can do. But yeah, so what they were going for was that if you can stack up this foam, basically you can what they say, and that's what they're going for, you can use it strategically to make your own advantage, get the high ground, or block an enemy and make it more advantages, because like if more of your foam is spread, like it slows the enemy down, right? Because you move slowly in the other anyway. It's not as severe in Splatoon. Whereas in Splatoon you get like almost completely stuck in the ink unless you put on some abilities where you can move a bit faster, but you get like really stuck. Whereas in this one you can move, but it's just like slower, but not quite. I don't think it's quite as punishing as Splatoon in that sense. But you definitely are slowed down. The problem with I like the idea of it, but the problem was like in execution, it just made, in my opinion, okay, there were people that said they had really a lot of fun with the game. I didn't like how chaotic it was. Where I couldn't, to the point where I felt like I couldn't see what was going on. I actually didn't like that the foam was stacked up and I couldn't see what was going on. And maybe they'll change this as well. Like the effects were quite they're really bright and blinding for a second for their sub abilities and stuff like that. So maybe they'll change it so it's not quite so blinding. And the other things, like they need to change so that improve the visibility of the characters, because what they've done is your character will have an outline in the colour of your team. So you just have to outline the colour of your team. But, you know, it's difficult to see them. And moreover, once they get chilled, they're rolled up in the ball. You know, your teammate will have like a help thing that appears like above them. But like they could be behind the foam and stuff like that. So you can't see that clearly where they are. You know, so they need to make, in my opinion, to change that so you can kind of maybe even see through the foam as to where they are, like maybe the help things visible through the foam or something like that. And I know the reason why they've gone for this outline, like the coloured outline of them, right? And the reason for the coloured outline is because they want to sell you skins so you can change the appearance of the character, but you still need to be able to see who's on your team. So that's why they've got this coloured outline. But in my opinion, it kind of that visibility isn't that great. Like, and again, to compare it to Splatoon, you can change your clothes and stuff like that, but you clearly know who's on your team because like it's your like the tentacles colour, the hair colour. It's not really hair; it's tentacles. Changes colour because obviously they're you know they're meant to be cephalopods that can just change the colour at will. That's why you can just freely change the colour of your inkling in Splatoon, because they're meant to be squids that can change. Obviously, they can change colour, right? So it's very clear to see who's on your team and who's not. Whereas here, I found it was a bit more difficult. Well, how did you feel about that, Vinnie Mac?
Well, I don't find Splatoon to be a team-oriented game. I think it's a task-oriented game. You know what you're supposed to do. I'm supposed to cover more ground than my opponent. So
yeah.
you just really have 4 people doing the same task, but you guys are not on a team. This is more team-oriented.
But I can agree with you. But for there's other modes in Splatoon where you do absolutely every other mode in Splatoon you do have to work as a team. But I agree with you, in Turf War you can kind of sort of like almost like do your own thing. Turf War is like the most casual mode in it. The other modes are in ranked. There's 3 modes in ranked, where you do have to work together, which is why I never get very far. I've never gone up the ranks. And then also there's the salmon run where you have to work as a team. But yeah, in the basic turf war, because you just need to cover the most ink. It's you can do it in a way where you definitely max right. You don't have to necessarily like work as a single unit, right? You can kind of do things.
I don't have to coordinate anything for us to succeed.
Yeah. Whereas
you just have to know what your task is and just execute on your task. For this game seems like they want you to be more team oriented. So if you and me are playing, and I see that you are chilled, the expectation is for me to come and save you. Because if I'm right next to you, I can slide into you and save you as opposed to you getting blown out.
Yeah.
So which can work. I mean, there is a group for that. But I wasn't a big fan of the verticality of it. So I get what you're saying in terms of you can't see, because if you bubble up the stage, it grows. It actually goes from like a hill to a mountain and then whatever. So there is a lot of verticality within the game. I just couldn't. I thought it was too slow. So either allow me to go through it, which I don't remember if you can go through it or not. I think you climbed over it.
No, you just climb it.
Allow me to actually see you how it is, or I don't know what the solution is. But I wasn't a big fan of it. I wasn't a big fan of the fact how the bubbles actually grow up, and I can't see what I'm doing, and you can't see me. So the only way we get to attack is if I'm right up on you. So now you can surprise you, and now I'm trying to shoot you. You're trying to shoot me.
So I'm watching the footage, and you can kind of see your teammates through the foam a bit, but it's not like they need to improve. I don't know, to improve the visibility. The visibility, and I think the problem is like the stages are very open, deliberately, so you can be able to. What is this? I thought this was foam stars. Oh no, it's like I just found some random gameplay. I'll rewind it. What was I saying? Yeah. So
there's an audience for this game. It's just it depends how they want to execute it. I don't think this should be
but it's that as well.
Game. I should think this should be either a free to start, so either free to play and then you just pay as you go, or free to start, or you just might have like an extreme discount just to buy the game, maybe $30 to start, then go from there. But I don't know. If this is going to be a full price game, they have to have a single player mode to kind of justify that full price cost.
So here's the thing, Vinny Mac. Like I agree with you. The problem with the thing that this gameplay aside, now some people really did enjoy the game and really, really liked it. The gameplay, so I had some issues with the gameplay and this very, very slow pace of it. And also there were like a lot of connection issues. Now I understand it was a beta, and so they're testing to iron that stuff out. So I'm not going to hold that against what would be the final product. But I will say that in me playing the game, I was only able to play 3 games because I got so many. I got fed up. I got so many disconnections and so many it would time out. It would disconnect, and then the other thing would just completely. I had 3 crashes, complete crashes, where the game completely crashed, and it booted me out of the game. And
yeah, that happened with me too. The same thing. So
after multiple times of that,
it said that you couldn't match up, or it just crashed midway. So yeah.
After multiple times of that, I had enough, and I'm just like, nah, this is, I'm not bothering with this. Now, obviously that experience varies. Now, so that connection issues I'm not going to hold against the game because it was a beta. But some people really did enjoy the gameplay, and I watched different impressions, and some people were really enjoying it. It's great. Now, one thing I did notice, I saw so many different videos where people were saying, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure this game's going to be free to play," and and they went and talking. I was like, "What? Where are you getting that from? How did that?" They're just assuming it's going to be free to play. Now, the thing that this game has going against it is that it's a Square Enix live service game, and Square Enix has not been good to their live services. Moreover, for whatever stupid reason they decided to make this only on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. There is not even a PC version of this game plan that we know of. It's going to launch on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and it's a live service game where you need as many people playing as possible. And we know the issues which been happening with live service games, with a lot of them closing down or surviving and so on. So, you know, and Square Enix, I'm concerned about them, how they're going to monetize this game. So we don't know if it's going to be free to play or if it's going to be paid game, and if it is paid, how much it will cost. That has not been announced. But like I said, some people assumed it was going to be free to play. They just said, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going." Oh yeah, you know when they're just talking about the game in the YouTube videos I saw, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be free to play," and da da da. So I don't know where they got that from, but I haven't heard any information that it will be free to play or how much it costs. Now I suspect they're going to charge for this game. The reason I suspect that they're going to charge for it to this game was that in order to play this beta, you had to be a PS Plus subscriber. You need PS Plus to play the beta, which that's dumb. You know, but you know, why make it require PS Plus for the beta, but then the final game will be free to play? So I mean, it's possible, but it would seem to me that maybe this is going to be a premium game, as in it's going to cost money, and then you it will cost like money, however much that is. And not free to play. Now, whether this game is going to be free to play or paid, you can absolutely guarantee that there will be like cosmetics, in-game purchases, microtransactions, and also they will most likely put a battle pass in there as well. So whether the game is free to play or not, that stuff's going to be in there, and you can already see the bones of it, because when you played the beta, there was some customization. They put some customization options in there. You could change the outfit of the characters, and I think there was like one or two outfits or one or two things you could change into, not too much, but it was there in the menus and stuff. And also, like I said, I think the pink outline, the coloured outline on the character is for that reason, rather than changing just like in Splatoon, where just the hair changes colour. Which is, to me, in like in Splatoon, it's very clear who's on your team and who's not, because of the you can see the colour on their head and on the ink tank as well. You can see the colour. Whereas this one, that they have the outline, which would be fine in most games to have that outline. Actually, it's not. I've seen many other online games that will have this outline. The reason why it's more of an issue in this game is because of the foam, and it's stacking up and it's exploding everywhere, and the colours from the abilities are really bright, and it makes it, for me personally, visibility is difficult. Now, I really also hope that they have colourblind options and stuff like that for this game, because I'm having trouble seeing what's going on, and I'm not colourblind or have a vision issue. So I can imagine if anyone has any type of vision issue, it's going to be difficult to see. Like Splatoon does have a colourblind mode as well, so you can change the colours of the ink. Yeah, so I'm not sure whether this game is going to be free to play or not. I have no idea, but yeah, I like the character designs. My favourites was Melty and the shark. What was the shark boy called? That twink shark boy.
My favorite was the bazooka and the dual pistol, so those were the two I used to use.
He's definitely a twink. Agito, that's it. That guy with the shark. Yeah. Those two are my favourite in terms of character design. The one I really didn't like was the guy who has a mask on and like a he hoses the. He has like a not like a shotgun type thing, more like a railgun, and he's like, the voice acting is really bad for that character. Again,
this is a demo, so I'm sure this is just made for this. So I'm sure they're gonna go back and clean everything up. I'm sure it's gonna sound a lot different. It could be a filler voice actor.
Oh, I don't. Maybe I didn't like. I just thought it was acted, and I didn't like the voice lines where he was talking about, I'm taking out these. It's talking about exterminating and taking out germs and stuff like that, and I was like, I don't what I don't understand. You know, I'm sure these characters all have different back. I mean, they had a couple of like lines about the characters and stuff like that. I do hope there is some type of story mode or like if anyone says a single player mode or like something to like, because they're in this like, I feel like there could be an interesting story here. Like they're in this town. They say it's a party. That it's a party. They're not trying to kill each other. It's a party. Like to have some kind of like lore or story. So the thing that people love about Splatoon is that you think it's just like, oh, it's just a simple shooter and everything. They have all this lore and stuff like that, and people are like really, really into this lore that you can find throughout the single player campaigns and the the expansions that they've had and stuff like that. And there is a manga, but I've never read the manga, but I don't know if it's that good, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's that good, but there is a Splatoon manga that I've never read. But I hope that there is some sort of backstory or lore or stuff like that about these characters and stuff. So yeah, that's the Foam Stars impressions. So let's quickly look at Jago's thoughts. So this is Jago. Shouts to Jago, who's often participates, and he's sometimes in the show. He said, "I finally got to play a few full games of Foam Stars, so I have some thoughts. 1, it's too slow paced for how quickly you can get chilled. 2, visibility is pretty bad, so it's hard to tell what's going on screen. 3, my hero not being centered is a terrible thing to force on me." I'm not sure what he means by that, because I thought the characters were centered. My hero not being centered is terrible.
They were tilted to either the left or the right.
Oh wait, yeah, but hold up. Let me look at this footage.
So it's not a behind the back camera. It's slightly to the side. So the camera is off to the side.
You're right. It is slightly off to the side. It is. Yeah. I didn't really think of that. But now that I'm looking at this footage,
it didn't really bother me either. But I know he plays a lot of Splatoon, so he may be more sensitive to it.
Yeah, so no, I can see where he's coming from. Your character actually is not centered. No, he's right. And he says 4, the stage we got to play on was oh, by the way, I personally only got to play one of the modes in there. I wasn't able to play the other mode. Just 4, the stage we got to play on was poorly designed in my opinion. At least it was small to accommodate the slow pace of the characters, but I think that's all it done correctly. I feel like the area where you land after spawning should be expanded and inaccessible to the enemy team. That's the other thing, like, because there was one place that you come in, there were people spawn camping. 5, I like how Smash the Star works as a casual, regular mode for the most part. But after getting 7 chills, I don't like how the objective is to kill yet another player. It would be more enticing if there was a centered objective item rather than just a special player to kill. And then he concluded, however, moving forward, I hope the game actually has some other modes that actually incorporate teamwork and team coordination. Otherwise, what's the point of being on a team? So yes, it kind of feels like he feels in that mode that you didn't need as much team cooperation, because it's like a deathmatch mode. It's like a team deathmatch, and then after 7 kills or chills they call it in the game, then you need to get 7 collectively as a team, and then the other team will have 1 player that's just the star player, and then you have to chill that player. So I get it what he's saying. It's like, oh, well, you do that, and then you just have to do the same thing again. Yes, is Jago here? Wow, that's my tweet. Yeah, we're talking about your tweet, Jago. Kika says, was the Splatoon manga is still... Yeah, I know it's still going. Did I use past tense? Yeah, sorry, I meant, yeah, it's still going. It's still going. Yeah, I'm just looking at, because you wasn't able to be here. Well, you're here now. I was like, let's look at Jago's things. Now, Jago also made a little Twitter video. So let's look at that. Hang on. Can I pause this music? Where is it? Not Colin's Crown. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so Jago made this video. So, can I audio on this? Audio. Audio as well. Also, I think he got disconnected in this. Yeah, sorry it looks like this. This is like Twitter compression for you, so I can't change it. It's Twitter compression, unfortunately. Yeah, so I think this was a match he got into and then got that disconnected. So let's have a look. Sorry if the audio is low. Because I turned it low for the thing, but anyway, you get the idea. Hold up a sec, because I've got this on full screen, I can't see whatever you're typing. Yeah, the video quality is not good because it's really, really, really compressed on Twitter. Not a lot I can do about that. Yeah, so Jago's just running around testing out what he can do, I guess. Okay. Killed someone, and then like to me, like, yeah, I found it very difficult to see. Now you can see the cat, so you can kind of see the outlines and stuff, but like it's really difficult to see, especially like when the help thing is on. You can see it, but it's hard. I don't know. I found it hard to pinpoint where they are, and I found it so chaotic. So the 3 matches that I managed to get into, I was just running around testing what I could do, or like what's going on, trying to see what was going on. Really, I wasn't even like, you know. I was just like, what is going on? I was like, what is going on? And I just kept getting chilled because I was running around trying to see what was going on. So I really didn't enjoy that. Yeah, so then he got a network error here. Communication has been lost. So yeah, so this is what happened. They should end it though. What, you don't like it, Jago? Have you read it? It's between manga. I mean, you know, I'm not. I don't know if it's that good. I haven't heard it's like the best. No, not Goggles. Goggles. I only had okay, you only had 3. You only had 3 games as well. Same. Jago, I got so many disconnections and so many like timed out, and like complete, not just disconnections like that. I was booted from the game. The whole game crashed. So I got annoyed and it's like I can't do it. Like I said, I wasn't here earlier. I said I'm not gonna hold that part against the game because it's a beta, but like it's. I had issues with the actual just the gameplay, but I explained the things I did like about the game. Like I like the music, I really like the character design. I think it's, but I like the theme and everything. I like that it's a party, but yeah, just some things. Like some things I feel like they could improve before the launch, because I'm sure they've had feedback from people to say about the visibility and how difficult it is to see. And maybe there's a way they can improve that, and maybe put more contrast between the colours of the foam, because the foam they're like light pink and light blue for that match you was on, but it's just some of the colours as well, but they're like both light colours, and like if they put something more with a strong contrast, so it's like that's more clear. But that's the thing, I guess because it's foam, then it's like it makes more sense if it's a light colour, but I feel like the colour needs to be a bit darker. But I guess foam is normally like white or. But they need to use saturated colours like super pastel. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Like it's opaque, but it's just so light. It's so light. Dank Meme Center says, is this going to be game free to play or $70 games as a service? Right, so that's what it's talking about. No one actually knows because it hasn't been announced. When I was looking at I looked at some different impressions videos, right? I looked at many different videos on YouTube, and there were some people on there saying, oh, this game's going to be free to play, but there's not, like, that hasn't been announced. But some people were just assuming it's going to be free to play. I don't believe there's been any information about that. I didn't find any information about that. Yeah, you think it's paid, Jago? Did they say that? And it says, oh, but Splatoon 1 used pastel ink. Well, more pastel. Right, it's Splatoon 1 I think had better visibility. I think like in the later games it was even more contrasted. Like you can clearly see the two different ink colours, and they do have like a colorblind mode as well. Yeah, no, so Jacob, what I said, when we played the beta, PS Plus was required to play the beta, right? So that made me think it's paid, because why would you have PS Plus required for the beta and then the game's free to play? I mean, it's possible.
It wasn't required for the beta. It wasn't required for the beta.
Yeah, so I mean, it's possible, but I don't know, that seems unlikely to me, that you would require it for the beta, but then the game's free to play. Well, it was.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Wait, hang on. I watched the gameplay the beta announcement, and it says that.
No, beta. I don't have any PlayStation services, and I was able to play online.
Oh,
so for the beta,
I'm sure I remember saying that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was in the beginning, and maybe it.
Oh, maybe maybe they changed it. But I'm sure I remember it saying that you need PS Plus on the goddamn thing.
No, because when the beta was coming out, they did say there was a FAQ section, and they clearly said you do not need any PlayStation service.
I just remember it being in the original trailer, which I'm trying to look at now. Or to play, this is the one they put on. I remember it saying that in the fine print at the bottom. It's not on this trailer. And when we looked at it in the last thing, I don't know. Maybe they did change that eventually. Where's the one on the PlayStation website? Where's the one from the PlayStation website? Oh, it's this channel. Okay, maybe it's this one I was talking about. So we looked at this last time. Yeah, look, hang on, there's some fine print here. Look what it said. This is why I thought this, because it says it. Oh, you can't see it very clearly here. Come on, why is this like? I don't know if I can make it 4K. Why is it so blurry? Okay. This is why I thought this, because it says online multiplayer mode requires internet connection and PlayStation Plus subscription. PS Plus fares occur until cancellation, age restrictions apply, full terms, blah blah blah. So this is what it says. If you look at the one that's on the PlayStation, this is why I thought that. This is the trailer that they showed at the State of Play. So that's why I thought that it was paid, because it says here at the bottom, online multiplayer requires internet connection and PlayStation Plus subscription. So that's what I guess, but because I thought they meant for the beta. I assumed that they said that the beta. But okay, you're saying the beta, it didn't require that, but it says it here. So maybe the beta didn't, but maybe the game when it releases will require that. Because why would it say that on here? It says it here, on this trailer. This one that's on the I'll show. Copy. So this one. It's for the game. Okay. Yeah. It's here, Jago, look. So the game. So that's why I think it's paid. I posted it on Twitter. I'll dig through my media. Yeah, let's see how nothing embeds anymore. It's so annoying. Okay, let me look at Jago says. Oh yeah, okay. Jago put it here. He's got a screen cap of what I just showed. Foam Stars isn't free to play. I usually applying to Toxic and Chris Righteous. Okay, stop jumping to conclusions based off headlines. Listen to discern. When did he do that? Okay, I missed this, but Toxic had a. I wish I could listen to this, but he didn't record it. Toxic had a space called he called it Splatoon 3 versus L Stars. I didn't see it. It was a question in the space. Oh, okay. You was replying because somebody said that in there, in the space. Okay. Right. Got ya. What was he talking about in the space? Stop jumping to conclusions based off headlines. Listen to discern. What was he talking about? What is that? He was a 6.5 hour space. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I listened to a bit of the other one he had the other day. Not the other. Well, he had one the other day. I listened to that one because he was talking about Kate Sif, and I don't care. And he had one before that. I listened to a bit of that one. I don't remember. I was playing Sonic Frontiers. Okay, you must have been listening to it a bit to answer this. But anyway, yeah. It seems like the full game will be paid. Otherwise it wouldn't say that, basically. So a lot of people are assuming it's free to play now. Whether it's going to be $70 game, I don't know. It could be like reduced price, like $40 or $50 US. We have no idea. So I can't say anything until, the game's not out till next year. They've got time to do a little bit more work on it. Maybe they can improve that visibility when you're playing. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. Hi, Dank. Being more of a character-driven is detrimental, just as the colour contrast is being non-existent. You think it's detrimental? It's as bad as that? The colour... Yeah, I think the colour contrast needs to be improved. In my opinion. That's something that they can improve easily before the game comes out, so I hope they'll be able to do that. Dank says having it be more weapon focused actually allows for more fluidity with the gameplay hook. Yeah, I wasn't feeling the hero shooter thing because you can't always get the character that you want, and it became clear that some characters were probably more better than others, or more popular or something. And yeah, I didn't like that personally, not being able to choose. I didn't realise that it was gonna be like that. I thought, oh, it's character based, but you can just choose your character, but no, you can't. Not if someone else has someone else has chosen it. How much was Babylon's Fall? It wasn't 70. Was it 70? I thought it was 60. Was it 70? Because I remember that other game that looked kind of similar being the 70. That Godfall. Was it Godfall? What was that? It's Godfall? Wasn't this game called Godfall that was like $70 and people flipped out about that? And then later it came out on the PlayStation 4 because everyone thought it was just PlayStation 4. Well, at the time it was. They didn't announce a PlayStation 4 version.
Babylon's Fall is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, but there was this other game called like Godfall. Do you remember that? I think it was called Godfall. There was this other... Am I tripping? There was this game called Godfall. That was $70. Yeah, Godfall. Yeah. There was a game... Yeah, there was Babylon's Fall, but there was this other game called Godfall, which kind of had a similar-ish aesthetic and kind of gameplay, but it was different. It was similar-ish. Not that similar, but... PS5. So I think it might have been the first PS5 game that was announced, which is why people at the time were excited. It wasn't. No, I know. It wasn't, because I was thinking about it now, and it wasn't that similar actually. Maybe the game. It was. I don't know. Maybe it was the gameplay people felt was similar. But I mean, yeah, aesthetically it wasn't that similar, no. Okay, J2 Blue said it was 60. Oh, Babylon's Fall was 60. Okay, Babylon's Fall was 60, which, oh my god, that was... I'm talking about Square Enix, oh my god. So I did want to talk about this digital thing with the... in Japan, but I'm actually like really tired now. I just don't think I can manage to go. Has he got space right now? About what? What is it about? Might as well remaster. Remaster on Horizon Forbidden West on PS5 Pro. Why not? Okay, so he's not happy about that rumor. Which, is it true? We don't know. It hasn't been confirmed though, has it? About The Last of Us Part 2 remaster. Okay, so he's yeah. The thing is, he's saying that as a joke, but like they might do that. They actually might do that. It's probably true. I'm going to lean towards true because the TV show was such a success. It was such a huge success. They did manage to get The Last of Us Part 1 out, which people complained about at the time, but I'm like, you know, you can complain, but it kind of makes business sense. There's no native PS5 Last of Us game, and you're releasing a show. You need something there, and I think they did Part 1 because they did that because the show is based on that, so it made sense. Oh, bye, Vinny Mac. I can even say bye. He just left. Oh, he said I have to drop. Thank you for having me on the show. Okay, thank you, Vinny Mac. Sorry I didn't get your like final thoughts or whatever. Factions died for this. You don't know that. You don't know that, Dank. Factions died for this. Then the PC version came out. Of what? Of part. Oh yeah. It was on the PlayStation 5 first, and then PC afterwards. I definitely believe The Last of Us Part 2 remaster is true, says Redhood. Dank says, how would they fix Abby? I do not know, because I don't know the character. I know some people didn't like the character or something, but they won't, or damn rip. Vinnie Mac says, rewrite or add more to the character. Jago, they can make her shorter. The console explodes when you get to that section. As well as the older IPs that Naughty Dog made, like Jak and Daxter. Didn't they make that? Yeah, they ain't bringing those franchises back. No, if they do, Naughty Dog's not making it. It'll be some external studio or something. There's no way modern Neo Jim. You know, I call it PlayStation Neo Jim Ryan PlayStation. I think everybody can understand now, hopefully, why I was been calling PlayStation Neo Jim Ryan PlayStation. Yeah, you can tell that I'm getting tired, man. Make her part shorter. That would help. Last of Us 2 Last Horizon update. I don't understand that. Yeah, they're not bringing those back. I know Jak and Daxter's. What else did they make other than... They're not bringing those back. There's just no way. Unless Naughty Dog themselves were like, we really... Even then, I don't think Sony would let them. We really want to make a new Jak and Daxter. Just Neo Jim Ryan PlayStation, that's not happening. Here's the thing, what am I going to call PlayStation after Jim Ryan's gone? It will still be Neo Jim Ryan PlayStation. No, Sly Cooper was Insomniac, wasn't it? Yeah, they made Crash, but they don't own it. They wouldn't be able to make one. Well, it's going to be Microsoft soon, isn't it? Naughty Dog don't really care about those games anymore, says J2 Blue. They as much. Yeah, they said as much. Did they say that? Did they say that, J2? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, like I said, once they made Uncharted 1, they never went back. And I think that was the start of the PlayStation we see now, and culminated in Neo Jim Ryan PlayStation, which started in 2019 with Jim Ryan's reign. I'm going to call Neo Jim. I think I will still call it Neo Jim Ryan PlayStation even after Satoshi takes over. I'm not going to call it Satoshi PlayStation, because he's not even from SIE. He's from Sony Group. He doesn't even work at SIE. He's a CFO. They're not interested in making those games. We do not make fun. It's only a side effect. Yeah, like, I feel like even if, like, they were really pushing, like, oh, they go to leadership, oh, we really want to make Jack and Daxter, I don't know that they would let them. It's possible, but I don't think that they want to go and make those games, like, bring those IP back. I think the only way the IP will come back is if another studio that's not Naughty Dog does them. Like, and I mean probably like an external studio, because I don't think Sony would give it to any of their other studios. Who would they give it to? If Naughty Dog wasn't making it, which one of their studios? Because, like, they kind of see that, you know, I think they see themselves as like they've moved past that. They don't want to make that sort of thing anymore. I think most of the studios are like that. Now they've all been converted into, making these more adult-orientated games. Red Hood says, I always remember the good old Naughty Dog, not the current Naughty Dog, besides they're milking an overrated franchise anyway. Are they milking it, Red Hood? I mean, the TV show was very, very, very successful. And I think it makes sense to have a game on the PlayStation, that current PlayStation console. There wasn't one. Yes, you could get those games on the PS Store, backwards compatible, whatever, but it's not the same as having a new game ready. Like, and it was close enough to when the show ended. So, from a business perspective, I think it was a sensible thing to do. You know, you can but I actually think that was the sensible thing to do, to have a Last of Us game on the PS5 for the show, which was one of the most successful I think it's one of the most successful shows that HBO's ever had. So it was sensible. Hey man, The Last of Us deserves hype, probably not all the wars, but hype. So there you go. I specifically remember you telling me that the gameplay of The Last of Us 1 is trash. You said the gameplay is trash, but the story's good. And I'm like, do I want to play a game where the gameplay is trash? I don't know. The first one was good, but the second game happened. Yeah, I know some people. It was kind of controversial, right? For some people. Players early, Eddie, you'll have the time as you life. Yes. Rita says, Jago, I don't know, man. It was hyped up when it first came out, especially the TV show. But I think, to me, it's overrated, like kind of what P5 is. You think P5 is overrated? Oh, I didn't know that, Redhead. So you think P3 is better, I guess? You see, this is people that have a Persona 3 PFP for you. They say things like this. You cannot trust people that have a Persona 3 PFP. You just cannot trust them. So I guess The Last of Us Part... Okay, no, Jago, you said The Last of Us Part 1 gameplay was trash. You said that to me. What? Get the hell out of here, Kike. You get the hell out of here with that crap. Kike says, I think Final Fantasy VII Lo-Fi is overrated. You've lost your goddamn mind. You are out of line, sir! Sir! Redhead says, The Last of Us Part 2 should not have won the Game Awards. Dang, well, the people that were there seem to think so. That it should have won. Do you know what? Speaking of which, I've had enough of this music. Where is it? Oh no, I can't take this anymore. I'm not playing that. Not on that. Not on the outro. Where is it? Let's go. Final Fantasy VII Lo-Fi. This is what we're gonna finish with. These goddamn heathens here do not know and appreciate good lo-fi when they hear it. That's the problem. That's the problem. You know, I'm not gonna say it about that GIF. Like, Google about that GIF. Like, it's very cute, but I'm not gonna say it here, but Google about that kid. Red Hood says, hey, I enjoy P5, but after I played P3P, I love P3 way more, but hey, that is my opinion. No, you're entitled to an opinion. That's fine. That's fine. But I don't trust people that have that Persona 3 profile picture, Red Hood. I just don't think they're trustworthy. I'm just gonna say it. Jago said, I think playing as Ellie is more fun than playing as Kratos in Ragnarok. I didn't like God of War 2018. I couldn't even get through it. I didn't like it at all. Just didn't like it. I didn't like the gameplay. Gameplay was slow, boring. Fighting the enemies was boring, repetitive. Didn't like the characters. Didn't like the aesthetic. I just didn't like it. But that's my opinion. I played it for like 5, 6, 7 hours. I can't remember. I got fed up. That's how much fun I had playing in Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, I don't know. What is this meme? Why is there a Grand Theft Auto 3 meme? Yeah, data. I know why you're doing it. I know why, but you're wrong. You've all lost your goddamn minds. This lo-fi is excellent. It's excellent. Where's the volume? The volume thing. Just turn it up. Hang on, put this. None of you know what you're talking about. No idea what you're talking about. You know, Ragnarok's gameplay is better, in my opinion. Well, I shall talk about it. See, I'm drifting off that. I'm going to end the show because I'm going to talk about the digital rate because I'm actually really tired this week. So sorry about that. We'll probably have a bonus town square during the week. Of course, sometimes in our server people have these spontaneous town squares. I call them emergency meetings. Jim Ryan announced his retirement. Emergency meeting! I call them emergency meetings. Next week is Spooky Day. Oh yeah, so next week I'm going to EGX on Friday. So I will have to move the show to somewhere else. I need to think about it. So maybe we'll do, instead of a show, we'll do a town square. I don't know. You will have to let me know what you think. Why boo? Okay, just joking. Spontaneous Atlas rant. Listen. I'll complain about Atlas when there's things to come. There's always something to complain about. I gotta be honest. I'm gonna be honest. There's very little they do right in terms of the managing their company. Like, their games for the most part are excellent. It's just everything surrounding it is just utter trash. I don't know what else to say. Like, good games, but like literally everything else is trash. Oh my god, they're going off talking about the stupid Last of Us. That game has been 2 years. Let it go. It's been 3 years, in fact. Let it go. Is it 3-4 years? Anyway, it's like when did that come out? 2020. It's let it go. If you remove Abby from the last, oh my god, I need to play these games that people keep going on about. I don't like Abby. I don't know. I haven't. Don't post the spoilers here, but I know people don't like that character. I don't know why. Although I do know spoilers from that game because it was at the time that happened. It was completely unavoidable, so I know what happened, but it was unavoidable. It was just posted everywhere. There was no way of avoiding it. I was comparing Ragnarok to the first game. I haven't played Last of Us 2 yet. I just think Eddie's gameplay is elite. I mean, I've heard that. Yeah, do you remember that super leak? The leak. That huge leak that happened to The Last of Us Part 2? Yeah, man, all of it leaked. And it was just impossible to avoid it at that time. Oh, that's fair to say. It's true. It's not even close. They manipulate the audience with deceited. Okay, so that's what people were kind of annoyed with. Listen, I'm just gonna say it's not the first game to do that. Alright? It's literally not the first game to do that. Wasn't that not the whole thing with Metal Gear Solid 2? Wasn't that the whole thing? Like, you know, that's not anything new, Dank. So I'm not gonna, you know. I avoided. Oh well, okay. You probably avoided it easy because at the time I was listening to like a lot more podcasts than I listen to now. I don't listen to any of them anymore. I was listening to podcasts and looking on Twitter and stuff, and it was unavoidable. Oh my god, is that VTuber? Man, they really gave us the whole Sonic shebang with this sponsored thing. VTubers is one of those things that's like, like I've tried to watch some like I've watched them. I used to watch a lot more Twitch, don't so much now. I have watched VTubers, but their coverage changed once it leaked, but you're right. In the grand scheme, MGS put right. Okay, but the thing is, the way they were able to achieve that back in the day is because there was no internet in the way and social media and stuff as the way there is now. So they could keep it secret. Like you just that would not work now. Inugami Korone. Yeah. Okay. Korone. Yeah. Korone. I mean, I've watched, you know, what's that big VTuber group? I forgot what it's called now. HoloLive. I've watched them. I mean, it's just the same as, like, just regular streaming of someone playing a game, except for they're playing a character. For the most part, the characters have like backstories and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, like, my Japanese is not good enough to like fully enjoy. I mean, I'm improving, but like fully enjoy it. But if you don't know Japanese, it's gonna be. Now there are VTubers who, like, from the HoloLive group, who they have English ones. They speak English. Some of the HoloLive ones. So I have seen them. An NPC. What is that? What the hell is that? What is that character supposed to be? Yeah, that's it, Takahashi Kiara. Yeah, and Takahashi Kiara, I watched the stream, she's like, oh yeah, my dad is the guy that created Steins Gate. I was like, wait, what the F? I don't know who Amelia Watson is. I have no idea who that is. VTuber. So what? So hang on. When these VTubers have to go to events, they wear a big like mascot costume like that. Is that what they do? Do they go to events? And so she went to an event wearing that costume. Well, who knows if that's even really her in there? Probably wasn't. No, who is inside that costume? So obviously she's gone to an event, and it's in a costume, but that could be anybody in the costume. It's supposed to be the same character here, right? In the thing. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream now. Because we're just talking about random stuff. It's anything to do with anything. J. Arthur says, well, first of all, put some ending music. You know what we're playing. J. Arthur says, Atlas just this week open pre-orders for Tactica on Switch. Yeah, that's the sort of fraudulent thing that Atlas would do. No, it's a screen. No, it's small. Ame, totally different. It's the mass. How am I meant to know what? You just say, oh, well, no, it's totally different. It's the mass. It's just a normal thing that somebody would know. I don't. The mascot? Okay, so do these VTubers ever go to events? Because obviously then you're gonna see. Because most of them. Okay, so it's sad. There was one VTuber I did watch, right? What was her name again? There's one, and she completely stopped. She completely just stopped. She was popular. She completely stopped. She retired. She disappeared. And then I heard the reason was because she was getting like a stalker or death threats or something, and she stopped. And the reason I liked her stream, and I'm so annoyed because like she even took down all of the archives. You go to the channel, there's like nothing there. The reason I like it that she spoke slowly and clearly, in polite Japanese, and like as I was learning, it was like she was pretty easy to understand. That you could follow along. And I've forgotten what her name was, and she pulled everything from the channel. Like the chat, like it, all the like I thought, oh, the archive will be there. No, they got pulled. Oh God, I can't remember her name. But yeah, apparently it was because she was getting death threats and stuff, which is really sad. Okay, so you go there and there's a screen. They're like a holographic screen, or they're just on a screen like a big projector. What? Okay, so they're in another room, so you get to talk to them, so that you're actually talking to a person, but you just see the screen. Oh, you know who I'm talking about, Red Hoods? Where she was getting death threats and she quit. I can't remember her name was though. My mind's gone blank. It's just a big TV. Oh, really? That's how they do it? It's a big TV. But you actually get to talk to them. Like it's the actual person, but you just can't see the screen. Yeah, so this one VTuber, it's so sad. Because one day I was watching it and it was like, oh, she's... And I didn't, at the time I didn't find out the reason until like a month or a year later, that what was the actual reason why she just disappeared. But she was like, you can't find the archive of her. Like they just took it, it was just gone. Yes, a big TV, have a little chat and take a picker next. Really? I didn't know that. That's how they do it. Yeah, I have to find the name of that VTuber. And you just can't find her stuff. Like, it was all and I wish she had left the archives up, man. Because it was genuinely really good. I haven't found another VTuber that was... No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. Not Pika, mate. No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. No, the one I was thinking of had a completely different name. Yeah. No, the one I'm thinking of had a different name. That wasn't her name. It was two names. She was Japanese, but one name was Japanese and one name was like English sounding. It was like, I can't remember. But yeah, no, it's really sad that if that's what is it? The fact that that's happened. The fact that that's happened to multiple. The fact that that has happened to multiple, more than one, for us to get confused about who it was is sad. That's happened. I guess that's why they have to keep the identity on like lockdown. Like, I'm guessing, like they need to not have. They must have like, you know, stalking issues and stuff like that. But I'm trying to find, if anyone, that's another thing, if anyone has a good VTuber recommendation that speaks in Japanese, that speaks in clear Japanese, like they speak clearly, preferably in Keigo. This is one I think, not a VTuber because there's no like avatar, you just hear his voice, and he speaks really fast. It is really fast, and he like literally non-stop, and he describes every single little thing he's doing. And his name's MK. I've started watching his videos because it's just like fast to help me pick up more Japanese. But he speaks really fast and like non-stop. You look it up, MK. If you're learning Japanese, but I've watched a few hours of him now, and I've got used to the speed of how he speaks. Because when you don't really understand what they're saying, it's difficult. But I'm still learning. Okay, I'm gonna end the stream now. So we're just talking about random VTubers and stuff like that. And I was gonna do the digital thing, but I am too tired. I need to go and replenish my Monster Energy drink setup. I bought a new phone. I need to set up I bought a new phone. I need to set up a phone. I bought a good phone for once. I actually have a good phone, a decent phone. I bought a Galaxy S23. So I need to set that up. So thank you to everyone who turned up today. Thank you for Marody K who joined me in the first part of the show. Thank you to Vinnie Mac who was here and had to go. Vinnie Mac, you did not defend Atlas. You every week you say you're gonna come in here. You say I'm gonna defend Atlas. You didn't do it, Vinnie Mac. You didn't do it. Not only that, you did not say the Atlas stands. Come at me, Atlas. I'm begging you, Atlas. Come at me. Where are you, Spencer? David Cast, JRPGs. Yes, I'm calling you out. Come here, defend Atlas, and tell me they're not fraudulent. Tell me they're not fraudulent. I'm waiting. None of these Atlas stands have done it. I'm waiting. They still haven't done it. Thank you, Kike, Red Hood, Jago, Black Boom Center, J2 Blue. Who else was here? I can't even remember now. Is everyone was here? There's other people. I'm gonna try to some people. No, it's not. Here we go again. Listen, I don't even trust you because you've got that P3 PFP. I don't trust you. J Arthur. Thank you, Timor. J2 Blue in the Sky. Atlas is living. But you think I think about Atlas all the time? No, I do not. Red Hood. And what I do think about that people would have P3 PFPs. They don't know what they're talking about. That's what I think. I think they're gonna get banned. That's what I think. They're gonna get banned on the server. I'm banning Persona 3 PFPs. I'm gonna ban them. Sonic Music Expand, and that's also banned. I shut up about that. What is that even from? Thank you everyone, and I'll catch you next time, but not next Friday because I'm going to EGX. Okay, bye bye.